What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. All right, we got a lot of y'all in here today. I wasn't expecting for y'all to actually not care about y'all kids on Christmas, but we here now. What's up, friends and family? What's the word? What's happening, Thunderbird? Yeah, I see all of my friends in here today. Let me give an early shout out to my dog, Mike, that dude on Cash App. Mike, that dude on Cash App is always hitting us off and making sure that we taken care of. Salute to you. Also to my dog Kojak. Kojak, I appreciate you. He hit us with the 20 ball. Hold on. He says, what up, Dotan Dog, Rita, and the Chasers. Merry Christmas. Thanks for the prayers last week for my mom and our family. It is much appreciated. Yeah, I've been monitoring that, and I've been trying to pay attention to see what happens with that. So shout out to you, family. I feel like it's dark in here. Do I look dark on camera? I don't know. It might be the contrast with the light in the background. I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're going to continue to cook. Shout out to Kojak. Shout out to everybody that woke up today and that said, yo, we going to get it. We going to get to it. What up? Chill. I'm 18 with no kids. Kids don't care about me. No, we up early. Hey, let me get a mental health check in the chat before we get it popping. Let me get a mental health check in the chat before we get it popping. Now we back up early, fam. Time to get back to it. Grizzly, I see you, backpack. Cloud cover behind you. Oh, it's the cloud cover. Maybe we should move. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to move out the way. Let me move this. Because I want to look good on camera. It's cloudy over here in the MIA, yo. Let's see if we can look better on camera. Woo! You see that? You see how that changed? Shout out to Teej Henley. Got my Teej Henley popping. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Got that Teej pack. What up? Positive, good, blessed, grind mode, decent. Let me get one word mental health check in the chat. One word, mental health check in the chat. I'm okay, grinding, working on my purpose. Positive, Feliz Navidad, My Gente. Hey, remember that site that was called My Gente? That was the alternative for Black Planet. It was the Hispanic or the Latino version of Black Planet. It was called My Gente, and then they had a Asian one. It was called Asian Avenue. I was signed up on all three. Oh, they had Black Planet, they had My Gente, then they had Asian Avenue. Now this was back in the early 2000s. I was signed up for all three, not because I wanted to get the hoes, but because I was a developer and I was promoting what it was that I was doing on those platforms, and I got a lot of traction from all three of them. And so when all of the black people was focused on Black Planet, I was focused. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Shout out to y'all. Y'all said happy holidays to everyone. Yeah, we can barely see you in the clouds. Okay, we back, we back, we back. Blessed, festive, just a. Come on, Brandy. Happy here, paid, rested, thankful. Tribulations, but blessed, awesome, okay, salutations. Hungry, preparing, Merry Christmas, chat, pushing. Shout out to Connie Harris. Ready, Lions, money, caffeinated, good, loved, alert, blessed, lifted, happy transitions, infinitely blessed, great. I'm telling you, Marley Mar, that's the truth. All right. Let's get to it. Listen, I'm glad that y'all here with me today. I'm glad that we can kick it. We're going to have a full show. It's going to be a full show. This is not a half show. This is not a minor show. Make sure y'all tune in to the KQ show on the Anton Daniels channel tonight. It's going to be crazy. Y'all think that all of the rest of the shows in 2024, going into 2024, it's going to be insane out here in these streets. So make sure that y'all stay tuned in. I'm going to be reading the super chats throughout the show. Shout out to everybody that's kicking it. Let's just go ahead and get started with the show. So before we even get into the quick hits, and again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Before we even really get started with the show, I want to give y'all my thoughts on this Christmas morning. I want to give y'all my thoughts today. And so as I look back over the buildings and the clouds, I got a new Rolex. Happy Christmas to me. I went and picked that up yesterday, and I got it on the whim because we just so happened to be walking in a design district in Miami. I picked up some other stuff, some Prada and all that stuff, and so we just so happened to be walking in a design district in Miami yesterday and doing a little bit of shopping, not Christmas shopping, but we just kicking it because we don't really celebrate holidays like that. I think that holidays a lot of the times it's for the kids, it's for the family, and a lot of my family, they like to travel for the holidays, so it's not even about gifts and stuff anymore. It's about experiences, right? So I went and I picked this watch up yesterday, and so it's beautiful because I was not expecting for them to have my Rolex Date Sub with the gold and the stainless steel and all of that. This is a beautiful watch, absolutely beautiful, right? Now, it's one of the watches that's been on my bucket list, but I haven't been able to find it, and they just so happen to have it. And so I actually was supposed to buy two Rolexes, but they said that they had a limit of only being able to sell one because they had to make sure that it was some available for the other customers. So that's a whole nother thing, right? But then if you notice over the weekend and stuff, there's kind of been a drought when it comes to content, when it comes to people posting. A lot of people take off during the holidays, and not just with regard to content creation. When you look at corporate America, everybody slows down during December because everybody burning a PTO and they're having a good time. And people tend to pull back, and then they have to ramp up during January, and then it's going to be a whole bunch of signups at the gym, and people going to get their New Year's resolutions, and then you can expect on New Year's Eve / New Year's Day, you're going to get a whole bunch of videos and posts on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube about what their New Year's resolutions are and how they're going to do things differently and how you have to take time off and all of that. And people keep trying to convince me that I need to slow down. I don't have that in me. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have that in me. I don't have an off switch that allows for me to then turn it on and turn it off. I'm always on. I'm never off. Right? I'm always on. I'm never off. when the weekends come and then Monday hit, and when everybody trying to get geared up for Monday, I'm already in it. I'm already in the groove, and so I'm hitting everything, and I'm taking control of everything and everybody. So by the time that you start getting ramped up, I'm already 10 times ahead of you. And then I look at the holidays and I look at the weekends as an opportunity to prepare to beat you even more, because not only are we not stopping, I then take Sundays a lot of time in order to prepare myself to continue to hit, right? And so it's a few different reasons why you can consider me a workaholic. I think that that's a Western culture thing. When you look at what's happening across the world, and as you travel and you start to study other cultures, a lot of cultures, they don't have days off. They don't have PTO days. They don't have holidays that they take off for the family, right? They don't do that. Even if you look at Asians that then, or Chinese restaurants or whatever, that come over here and they start their businesses, they may take off 1 or 2 weeks for the year that they go and visit China. But on Christmas and stuff, they are open. And they are one of the only businesses that generate revenue in most cities, not in Miami. In Miami, it's a lot of stuff that's still open. But they're one of the only businesses that make a ton of money on the weekends, right? And I'm not telling you, let's be clear, I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm not telling you you shouldn't spend time with family. I'm not telling you you shouldn't take the holidays off or anything like that. I'm telling you what my mindset is. And I think that in a lot of instances, when we think about how we've been conditioned to look at what success looks like or what time off looks like, it's all a programmed thing that's put into you in order to get you to do the thing that they want you to do. When you think about a lot of these holidays, think about Valentine's Day. And some places they got Sweetest Day. That's an opportunity that was created by companies and Hallmark to get them to be able to buy more stuff or to generate more revenue right after Christmas when things start slowing down. So now you get these man-made holidays, or you get these times that people use as an excuse to go out and spend a bunch of money and put themselves in debt to where they can't climb their way back. I look at success during the holiday season. If you able to get into the new year because you've been disciplined the entire year, and then you finally am able to go into the new year without no debt, if you was able to get your debt down, why would you then put yourself back into debt in the holiday season in order to make sure that retailers are boosted and the economy is up? I did a video where I was breaking down on my Anton Daniels channel when I was giving a tour of my property, and I was breaking down to the people why it was important for me to do it out of my own pocket and why I didn't believe in giving the bank's interest just to substitute for growth, right? And somebody said to me in the comments, because I do go through the comments and I see what the sentiment of the people is, and they said, well, Anton, if everybody was rich, then, or Anton, if everybody didn't finance, then the banks would go and this and that and this. I'm not trying to convince the American people to do it the way that I'm doing it. I'm trying to reach out to my crew, my people, my bag chasers, to give them insight on why they are able to do it the way that I'm doing it, so they can be amongst the few that then get rich amongst the many that continue to program themselves to do things that's not best for them, for people that don't care anything about them. And so when I work, I don't look at myself as a workaholic. I just look at it as a normal part of the routine. I wake up the same way every day, the same time every day, whether it's Monday or Sunday or Saturday. I got the same routine every day. And then as I grow and as I'm productive, I find spots throughout the day or opportunities, or I plan within my calendar times for me to be able to enjoy other parts of life, right? It's just a part of life. It's normal. It's programmed within me to be productive. Are there changes that I can make to be more productive? Absolutely. I can get more sleep. I got 8 hours of sleep last night. Is there things that I can do to be more successful? 100%. That's why I changed the way that I eat, and I'm also changing the times that I work out. We're gonna continue to fine tune things, but when I see you sleeping, I see an opportunity to go and take your food. When you over there getting comfortable with your chick, I'm trying to figure out how I can hire her to be a part of my team and then program her to start looking at life a little bit differently, so I can use her as a Swiss Army knife and be more successful. I want her up under me. When you over there relaxing and having a good time, I'm trying to figure out how it is that I can take your audience. I don't look at his holidays as a time to just take off. I look at it as a regular day that they then brand so that they can get you to do the things to allow for me to get richer. My mindset and what I look at as success is different from yours. When you come from the places that I come from and you come from being raised in the inner city of Detroit, I'm never going back broke. And what I consider to be broke is not living in the hood. What I consider to be broke is people who has a negative net worth. I think you missed it. What I consider to be broke is not people that live in the hood, because it may be people that make a sacrifice so that they can continue to grow and they do things longer so they can live the life that they want to live for the rest of their life. What I consider to be broke is not people that drive a beater car. What I consider to be broke is people that can't afford to pay their bills, but they may make $100,000 a year and they still living paycheck to paycheck and they still got a negative net worth because they so busy focused on lifestyles instead of being focused on being productive. I think differently than people that may be around me because I read, I study, I understand the habits of what successful people do. I don't live with regret. So you're not going to sit here and tell me that, man, y'all need to get out and live your life. Get out and live what life? You can't do nothing you don't want to do. You can't buy what you want to buy. You window shopping every single day. You got a wish list on Amazon. I don't have a wish list. When I see, I buy. Because when I get ready to do something, if I don't drive my cars that often, most of my cars got less than 5,000 miles on them. But when I decide that I want to get in one, I'm going to pick one between the four that I have for myself. And then Rita got two, and then my daughter got one, and she ain't even able to drive by herself yet. I'm going to pick the one that I want because I live the life that I want based off of the effort that I put in. I'm not sitting here complaining about systematic racism. I'm not sitting here complaining about what it is that other people are able to give me or not. I'm not sitting here asking for nobody to give me no reparations. I don't care about reparations because I'm going to reparate myself based off of the time that I decide that is worth. That's not living. And don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing other people that decide that that's how they want to live their life. That's not living life to me. Anybody that's ever been to Miami and you travel from over at, you're driving down Biscayne and then you take the street and you go over to Miami Beach, right? Because right now I'm over in Hollywood, so I like to switch up the places that I'm at. Sometimes I'm over in Brickell, other times I'm over in Wynwood, other times I'm in Midtown, sometimes I go to Miami Beach. I stay in Miami Beach. Today I'm staying in Hollywood because it's slightly off of the beaten path as far as where all of the stuff is happening in Miami, but it only take me 15, 20 minutes to get into the thick of things. So I'm kind of on a vacation, right? When you look at the view, right? When you look at my view out here and you see all of that water, right? And it's on both sides. When you look at my view and you see the water on both sides, it's a little bit different for me, right? And so anybody that's driving, and we're going to get to the show. But anybody that drives from Miami over to Miami Beach, usually there's this one house. And every single time that I done came here, ever since before the pandemic, when I stayed here for like 2 to 3 months, 2.5 months, it's you go over the bridge, right? And you go over the water, and it's this boat. And it's this huge grayish, blackish boat. And you can see it at the nighttime or you can see it in the daytime, right? And when you see it, it's not like a regular boat. It's not like a boat that you take out on the water or whatever. It's not even like a regular yacht. It's like a super yacht. And when I see that thing, it inspires me. It inspires me. It inspires everything in me because no car, none of these homes that I see, none of this stuff, like that's like F you money. And it don't inspire me in that I gotta have that boat so I can do it. Because it's not just about chasing things, but it inspires me that I can achieve anything that I want based off of my mentality, my work ethic, and being intentional with my time. Right? And so what I want out of life is different than what you want out of life. And as long as you're not doing nothing illegal, then I think that it's okay. It's okay. But I'm different. I've been different my entire life. I don't even look at where I came from and say I never want to be broke again. I'm never going back there. I'm never going back to the financial spaces that I used to be in when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, even when I was making money and I was blowing it because I wasn't being intentional. I look at stuff and I go forward and up, and it's inspirational for me because it gives me incentive and it gives me insight into what the possibilities are, and that I never have to subject myself to the things that other people subject themselves to anymore. I seen a car, and I was in the store and we was picking up this Rolex, and it was the guy that came in, and he came in with the Virgil Abloh. It was like an Italian guy. And what's up with all of these people here? Like, it's a bunch of like Italian / Cuban / guys with slick back hair, and they all are the ones that seem like they got all of the money. That's a whole nother conversation. I'll talk about that later. But he had the Virgil Abloh, not the Virgil Abloh, but it was the colors, right? It was like a clay and grayish, blackish Maybach. And I was thinking to myself, I think I'm about to trade my car in and get one of them because that's the one that I've been chasing for a while. So then we put in a call, and they said that I can come in and test drive and see if it's one available and all of that. And we're going to figure it out from there. And so it's my option. I want the option to say no. I don't want people to make available to me what I qualify for. I want the option to say no. It's not about the car. It's not about the stuff. It's not about the watches. It's not, because this watch doesn't do anything more for me than any of the watches that I paid for already, right? This is my 7th one. It doesn't do anything for me as far as excitement, but it's the fact that I can get whatever it is that I want, and I don't have to look at the price for the most part. Right? I'm not getting a Bugatti Chiron and not trying to figure out how that's going to fit in the budget, right? I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. I'm going to work there. I'm going to get there. It's about options, and when you have options, you move differently. You got a different mindset. And it's a certain type of mindset that come with people that's able to give themselves the options to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And it's all across the board. It's with regard to fitness. It's with regard to your professionalism, networking, money, finances, relationships. It's all encompassing, right? So I just think differently. I move differently, and I'm always going to put myself in a position to be successful. And so that's why I don't take days off because I don't want to. I spend time with my family. I take care of business. We have a good time. We out shopping, strolling, and all of that. But in the midst of it, I'm always going to have an objective and things that I think that I want to continue to work towards. So I'll tweak it a little bit. But, you can unplug from the matrix, and you don't have to be the same thing that everybody else is in order to be successful. That's all I'm telling you. You don't have to do it the same way that everybody else do it. We already do things the way that we want to do it based off of what we want to do. Why not allow for that to continue to push you to be successful and make the modifications in that? Let's not just make the changes in the right and the wrong things. Let's also allow for ourselves to change so that we can be more productive and more successful also. All right? Let's get to it. All right, let's get to it, y'all. Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then we're going to get it popping with the show. Forever says, I wanted to wish the Daniels family a blessed and Merry Christmas. Bag Chasers is always sitting in the back of the class, but don't worry. I'm taking notes. Back to work. Shout out to you with the 20 ball. Thanks for blessing the platform. Darnell says, I love the holidays from November to January 2nd. The hospital offers double time on most shifts because everyone want time off. Easy money, baby. Merry Christmas. Yeah. And then you can take your time and do what you want to do during the other sessions, right? When everybody else is getting taken off during the holidays when all of the money is coming, you can make a whole bunch of money and then take time off when everybody else is working really hard and they just doing regular time off. You know what I'm saying? I'm carrying like a whole week of PTO into the next year. Dane Smith says, just paid myself 25% of all this Christmas money. Facts, though. Shout out to Dane. All right, y'all ready to get started with the show? Shout out to everybody that's tuning in for the Christmas show. It's a regular day for me, baby. It's a regular day. We praise God every day, not just on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to it. All right. Again, thank you guys for tapping in. Make sure y'all tune into the Q show tonight. Make sure you tap into that Teach Henley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift, which is a sponsor of the show. And then also on top of that, tune into the Patreon. We got a lot of good stuff launching into the beginning of the year. Patreon link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to hit y'all off with Quick Hits, baby. Quick Hits is a segment of the show dedicated to keeping you guys up to date of what's happening in these streets, man. But we don't think it deserves a whole segment by itself. But we're going to break it down for y'all. All right, first things first on Quick Hits. Quando Rondo has been released. I don't really care about Quando Rondo, but I think it's an interesting story. Let me bring y'all up to speed of what's happening out here in these streets.
Breaking news at 5, Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, whose real name is Taekwon Bowman, will be released from jail.
Yeah, this comes after a federal bond hearing today. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole joins us live from outside the courtroom. And Andy, the hearing lasted several hours.
Yeah, it lasted.
I'm gonna address King Charles shortly because we got receipts, baby. We don't rent who rents clothes. Let's continue.
5 hours, in fact, Riley. I've been here.
Actually, you know what? We're not dealing with it going into the new year. Shout out to King Charles for subscribing to the platform.
All day since 10:30. The decision came down from federal magistrate judge Christopher Wray around 4:30 today. They will release the 24-year-old whose real name is Taekwon Bowman from federal custody ahead of the holidays based on a number of factors. In fact, the federal judge Christopher Wray mentioned that this was a difficult one. It was a difficult decision to make because both arguments were so complex. Now, during that 5-hour hearing today, prosecutors presented several wiretap phone calls and said Bowman was a danger to himself and the community. Prosecutor Bradley Thompson played one particular phone call from Bowman while he was at the movie theater with his young daughter after he noticed 10 members of the rival gang show up. Now, Bowman asked the person on the other line of the phone to bring weapons to the theater. The defense, however, pointed out that no fights or shootings happened as a result of the phone call. They used.
Are y'all hearing what's being communicated right now? The judge had a very difficult time determining whether or not they wanted to let this man out on bond, meaning that he's still being charged with whatever the crime is, but then at the same time, they're presenting evidence. The prosecutors were presenting evidence that the man was out at the theater with his daughter, ran into 10 guys. This is according to the news report. Ran into 10 guys that were interested or that they were from a rival gang that he had beef with, and they got wired. Come on, y'all. Let's break down our context clues and let's just have a conversation right now. They got wired. This is a rapper, a well-known rapper. They got wiretaps on this guy, and on the wiretaps that they're playing in federal court, meaning that they already watching you, so they already know what you're doing and they already gonna arrest you. In the wiretaps that they're playing in court, they're playing wiretaps that basically show you're with your daughter at the theater running into 10 rival gang members, and you're making phone calls saying, hey, bring guns to the theater. These people have children. They're having children. They're breeding. They're living a gang-filled life even after they become successful in whatever respective field that they're in. They're causing terror still in gangs. And they're asking for other people to get involved in their criminal activity by bringing guns into the theater. Talk about wanting to be under the jail in some of the most trash culture that I've ever experienced in my entire life. The most trash culture, I'm going to read that super chat shortly, the most trash culture that I've ever experienced in my entire life. Out with your daughter. Let's continue. In other news, TD Jakes. Now, I haven't addressed this whole TD Jakes situation, partly because there's just been so much going on out here in these streets. But one of the reasons I also haven't addressed the TD Jakes situation is because I understand the nature of people, right? And the nature of people is just to automatically want to throw people under the bus that they don't care for without any evidence to go along with it. What I like to speak to is the things that are true. I don't do rumors. I don't speak to anything that people are not speaking to, that they've addressed or admitted for themselves. And then also on top of that has been everything else that's been going on with Diddy and Vin Diesel and all of these different people that's being accused or whatever. But TD Jakes is largely addressing, or he's under fire based off of going to a Diddy birthday party. And people are automatically associating him with the devil because of it, right? Which you already know that they got it out for you anyway. But TD Jakes addressed it in his Christmas morning, really quickly in his Christmas morning sermon that he preached at his church. I guess it was the Potter's house. And this is what he had to say.
Out of concern, some of you come in to hear what I'm going to say. All of you who expect me to address a lie, you can log off. I will not use this sacred day and this sacred pulpit to address a lie when I have a chance to preach a truth. I will stand straight up, head up, back straight, and preach the unadulterated, infallible word of God. Because that is what the pulpit is for. But there will be a time.
So he largely went on to preach his holiday Christmas message, as usual. But as far as my thoughts on TD Jakes in a general sense, I don't feel anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not swayed one way or the other. I think that the people, what TD Jakes and the like probably needs to recognize is that the people that's going to be for him is the people that's going to rock with him regardless. And everybody that has anything to say that's outside of it, you don't necessarily have to address it because it's like a bunch of little ants crawling all around you. And so it's almost like none of those people was ever going to join a church. None of those people was ever going to say anything anyway. And regardless of how they feel about him, because again, it's not like he's being charged with a crime or anything like that. It doesn't really matter. And people automatically want to come after you because they don't like you and they're looking for anything in order to justify how they feel about you. We seen over the weekend people was coming after Simone Biles' husband, Jonathan Owens, and they were mad at Simone Biles while at the same time supporting Lori Harvey. And so it's not like they have this great moral compass by which they're leaning into. Most of these people have never seen him in person. They've never seen him preach a message. They don't know what his life is like. They don't understand what his marriage is. They don't even know how long he's been married. They don't know anything about it. And so because he went to a birthday party or he took a picture or he danced to some secular music, now they're automatically ready to condemn him as though they was ever going to go to the church in the first place. So I don't deal in rumors, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't addressed the whole TD Jake situation. I try to stay 100% above board, and the further I get in my journey as a content creator, the more I become immersed in just whatever it is that the truth is, not necessarily the court of public opinion. And so I don't like the court of public opinion when it comes to whether I like the person or not. I don't like Diddy, but I still don't believe that all of the allegations that's against him is true. And so I'm able to separate how I feel about a person from what the truth is. And in the court of public opinion, I don't participate in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the recent news on TD Jakes. And then last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Harvard president Claudine Gay is facing new allegations based off of they're now saying that she plagiarized, and I think that they just coming after her.
Harvard President Claudine Gay is under new scrutiny. This is on top of the criticism of her testimony earlier this month about hate on campus. Now, GOP lawmakers plan to investigate her for plagiarism claims. Nancy Chen is following this. Nancy, good morning. What's going on?
Nate, good morning to you. After controversial testimony on Capitol Hill earlier this month about anti-Semitism on college campuses, Claudine Gay seemingly cleared concerns about her leadership at the prestigious university. Now she's back in the spotlight under review for her work as a scholar. Last week, Harvard said it reviewed several published articles by Gay and found 2 from 2001 and 2017 that needed additional citations. Wednesday, it added 2 more instances of duplicate language without proper attribution, found in the president's 1997 dissertation. The university said Gay will correct her works, and the inadequate citations did not amount to research misconduct. But now Capitol Hill is probing if the university did enough to handle these allegations of plagiarism. A letter sent by the House Education Committee to Harvard leaders says an allegation of plagiarism by a top school official at any university would be reason for concern, but Harvard is not just any university. Adding, does Harvard hold its faculty and academic leadership to the same standards as students? Neither Harvard nor
And let me read a few of the super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. All right. So, Cherry Q43 says, good morning. Yeah, I finally caught the live show. Shout out to you, my love. You'll find that Anton is pretty objective, but I got some very strong opinions. Christopher J is in the building, says, happy holidays to the bag chaser. Shout out to you and Cherry Q. I appreciate y'all. Timeout says, we can't hear you, Anton. How can't you hear me? Is y'all audio not up? It seems like y'all can't hear me. Was my audio off or something? Hold on, let me see something. I was muted the whole time? Oh my gosh. Nah, we're not going to redo it again. We're not going to redo it again. I didn't know that I was muted. Oh, I know what happened. I'm so aggravated now. I'm aggravated. Let me tell you what happened. So, Rita came out to go do something. I muted myself in order to say something to her, and then I never unmuted myself. Gosh. Good God almighty. Thank y'all for looking out for me. You know, the interesting part about that is I can't see myself because I don't have myself on a big screen, so I can't see y'all talking to me this entire time. Ugh. Let me replay that last part of Quick Hits because I want y'all to come up to speed of what's happening. What part was I muted for? 5 minutes, just the last segment? All right. Let me replay that because I want to give y'all my thoughts on that really quickly. I can't believe that I was muted the entire time. That's not fair. Hold on. All right, let me replay this video really quickly. Not that one. This one.
Harbor President Claudine Gay is under new scrutiny. This is on top of the criticism of her testimony earlier this month about hate on campus. Now, GOP lawmakers plan to investigate her for plagiarism claims. Nancy Chen is following this. Nancy, good morning. What's going on?
I'm not about to replay that whole thing. I'm gonna just give you my thoughts on this. I was just basically saying that I'm objective enough to make sure that I call it straight down the line and how I see it, and that I don't think that her ability to be able to do her job just because she's a liberal is affected by what they're trying to put on her. They got a witch hunt against her. I think that they have a witch hunt against the same way that they got a witch hunt against the people that they don't care for, right? They got a witch hunt against Trump, and he's a conservative. They got a witch hunt against her. But see, I'm not the type of person that's just going to convict somebody in the court of public opinion. I'm going to convict somebody, and I'm going to give my thoughts based off of the truth. And if she hasn't done anything illegal, if they tried to put words in her mouth, and now they're trying to say that she didn't properly cite 2 sources in previous work with regard to her Harvard stuff, I'm not going for that, fam. I'm just not going for it. I'm not going for any of that. Her views on how she lives life, in my opinion, has no bearing on her ability to be able to do her job effectively. And so I think that it's a witch hunt. I think that they're going after her. I think it's a witch hunt. I think it's unfortunate. And I don't know her personally, but they were originally going after her based off of her thoughts that they tried to put in her mouth on Israel and Hamas. Now they're trying to go after every single stone, and they turning them over to try to figure out whether or not she plagiarized by not properly citing sources on 2 of her works and all that stuff. But as long as the Harvard faculty, the donors, the beneficiaries, the students, and the staff and everybody else is saying that they actually agree with what it is that she's doing and they're not losing no money as a result of it, then let that woman rock, bro. But this is the life that you choose when you start to become a public figure and you go higher up in whatever your respective field is. And I think that it is stupid. I think that it's petty. And the same way that I am when it comes to my conservative views, I may not necessarily agree with your view, but I'm not going to call for your job just because I don't agree with you. You see what I'm saying? I just think that we've lost perspective of being able to agree to disagree or disagree with somebody, but not necessarily saying that characterizes you as being able to do your job effectively. I won't even go any further up in corporate America anymore at this point. I'm going to just stay exactly where I am, because any further up, I would have to become a visible public figure for the actual corporate entity that I'm working for. And then that wouldn't be good, because I have some pretty strong views. So it's pretty crazy, bro. It's crazy. But yeah, that's your quick hits, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get back into the show. And let me see if I can read the rest of the super chats that's not saying that I'm muted. Shout out to Tony. I appreciate you. Also, shout out to Cole. I appreciate you that said that I was muted. That whole last session you cooked was on mute. Shout out to Ash, yo. Shout out to Ash. It's weird when you're not in the studio, because I don't have my big old 75-inch to look at you guys on the comments and see y'all stuff coming back down and forth. Ash says, AD, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year's to you, Rita, your daughter, and your entire family. Happy New Year's and Merry Christmas to you too, Ash. I appreciate you for rocking out with me, my dog. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's big out here. You've been holding me down all year. Jamal Park says, Merry Christmas, reading the book Relentless by Tim Grover. Your consistency is admirable. Working on the same consistency for myself in 2024. Don't work on it, just be it. Don't work on it, just be it. All right, y'all. Let me get into it. Let me go ahead and get into it, because I got some stuff that I want to rock through. And again, I appreciate everybody that hold me down and is checking me out on Christmas. When you could be with your families, you over there hanging out with me. I admire that. I admire that. All right, so it's a woman, and I've been following this story probably over the last week. But again, I didn't want to bring it to the front of the congregation until we had more context, right? And so as I get more context, I've been able to develop an opinion about it. But it's basically happened in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's a woman that wound up shooting an 8th grader and killing an 8th grader that was trying to break into her home. Let me bring y'all up to speed of what's happening, and then we can have this controversial conversation, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it.
Police are investigating after a Fort Worth teen was shot and killed early Thursday morning after allegedly attempting to break into a home in the Rosemont neighborhood. Olivia Leach spoke with the teen's mother, who's pleading for answers tonight.
My son had a lot of dreams, and he was so talented. I don't get it.
Fort Worth police say they were called to Southcrest Court in the Rosemont neighborhood of the city early Thursday morning for a call about a prowler. When they got there, a woman told them several people were attempting to break into her home, but they had left the scene. Shortly after, police got a second 911 call from the woman who said the burglars came back. But when police returned to the scene, they found LaToya Lander's 14-year-old son, Devin Baker, lying on the ground in front of the home with a gunshot wound to the torso. Police say the woman who had reported the break-ins shot him. He died on scene.
It's like I'm in a dream. Because I'm looking at all the things he have at home. Then I have to drive by where my son laid.
Tonight, Devin's family and friends came together to honor him at a balloon release outside of Rosemont Middle School, where he was an 8th grader.
And son, I'll see you again. I love you so much.
But his family says there has to be more to the story.
No, I know my child. I know him. I know him, and it doesn't add up.
LaToya says she wants more answers from police.
I feel like they need to dig deeper, because I know it's something else happened that caused my son's demise.
Detectives say the woman who shot the teen had reported break-ins and attempted break-ins at her home before, and that she is cooperating with the investigation, but no one has been arrested.
I feel like it's very wrong. He had so many dreams. My son was not a criminal.
In a letter to the Rosemont Middle School community, school officials extended their sympathy to the family and said their hearts were heavy after learning of the death of a Rosemont student. Additional counseling was made available for any students who needed extra support.
Let me rewind this because I'm going to play a second clip from the perspective of the woman that shot him, okay? And I want to make sure that I'm being very sensitive to what's going on out here in these streets, but I'm going to rewind this because I want to give you the initial impact of when I seen this, and this is something that happens in a culture on a regular basis, okay?
Teen's mother who's pleading for answers tonight.
My son had a lot of dreams and he was so talented. I don't get it.
Fort Worth police say they were called to South Crest Court in the Rose.
What don't you get, ma'am? I'm going to play the mother's reaction one more time.
Because I'm looking at all the things he have at home. And I have to drive by where my son laid.
Tonight, Devin's family and friends came together to honor him at a balloon release outside of Rosemont Middle School, where he was an 8th grader.
And son, I'll see you again. I love you so much.
But his family says there has to be more to the story.
No, I know my child. I know him. I know him, and it doesn't add up.
What doesn't it add up to? What don't it add up to? Police investigated. He was breaking into somebody else's home. And okay, so here's the thing. Let's start with point A, because I'm going to be sensitive about this. It's Christmas. I'm a nice guy, right? Where is the father? I keep telling y'all that amongst the top 3 things that is wrong in this country, and I'm going to say it again, homelessness, open borders, fatherless homes. Where is this boy's father? How come every single time I've done 249 live streams on the Millionaire Morning Show this year, I have not missed a day. Not one day, not one live stream have I missed. Of the 249 live streams that I can remember on this channel, of all of the tragedies that I've seen happen and of all of the parents that have come up here, the only one that I seen, the only parent that I seen that I remember, father, it was both a mother and a father in a picture in order to justify or to have a conversation about what happened to their child, was Carly Russell. And the father on that one was being led by the mother, and he was obviously a simp because he was looking like a deer in headlights. You know who Carly Russell is? Carly Russell is the one that said that she seen a white baby walking along the streets of Alabama at late at night, and then she wound up lying, and so now she being prosecuted. That's the only time that I can remember out of 249 live streams and counting this year alone. Monday through Friday, I have not missed one. Not missed one. Of the 249 live streams that I've done, I have not seen one person, not one family of a child, and that is the one child that wasn't killed. I haven't seen one of a kid where you have both a mother and a father in the picture talking about what's happening. Number 2, they always talk about how great their kid was. Then how come you didn't know that they was breaking into somebody else's house? What else is there to investigate? You can't be crawling into somebody else's house on the side of the road or in a completely different community and keep telling me about how you didn't know what was. What are you talking about? I'm going to see you again. You should have seen him then. If he had some structure in his life, if he had got discipline in his life, if we had seen both a mother and a father in this picture and not a broken home, it's a strong possibility he would still be alive. At what point do we stop blaming the person that defends themselves and we start calling it exactly what it is straight down the line? And in other news, how do we not hold the mother accountable? Listen, if they're gonna do an investigation, if the police is gonna do an investigation, I call for them to do a full investigation. And the full investigation is they need to investigate the mother too. Just last week, we was looking at a story from Chicago where a little girl got choked up. A 14, 15-year-old girl got choked up after her mother knew that she was talking to a 24-year-old man. And she called the mama and said, "Mama, can you come and pick me up?" And then the mama is still having other kids, wasn't a father in the picture. And then what happened was the guy wound up killing the girl. What is a 15-year-old doing talking to a 24-year-old man? What is a 14, 15-year-old boy doing crawling in and doing break-ins in another woman's home? Let's go over to the woman that they trying to hold accountable for defending her home. Let's see what she got to say.
A Fort Worth woman who shot and killed a teenager she says was breaking into her rental home told us today how the incident has changed her life. Police have not filed charges for the shooting and they plan to submit the case for a grand jury review. Aaliyah Wallace talked exclusively with Fox 4's Sean Rabb, who joins us now live. Sean.
Leah Wallace bought a gun to protect herself and her family, she tells me, after a rash of break-ins in her apartment. Those happened while she and her family were not at home. But on December 14th, twice that day, while she was home with her kids, someone tried to get in.
I was cleaning my living room, sweeping my floor, and I heard her window start going back up. So I went and I looked in the hallway and I could see him standing at the window lifting it up, and I just shot.
Gunshots that killed 4.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. When you see a grown man coming into the window with Christmas decorations on it and your house didn't been broken into multiple different times. Now, I'm not going to victim shame on this one, but I don't see no father in the picture of this one. Do y'all realize that this is woman-on-woman crime right here? This is woman-on-woman crime right here. And I'm not talking about the woman that shot. I'm talking about the one that raised the boy that ultimately was crawling in, the woman that had to defend her home. Do y'all realize that all of these are fatherless homes that we see in every single clip that's on here? You raised a menace that's now breaking into somebody else's home, and he messed around and found out. No fathers nowhere. I don't know if they just decided not to be on camera. I have no idea what the heck is going on. But you crawling into a little kid's room, breaking in the crib. What did you think was going to happen? You thought that they was going to give you a pat on the back, that they was going to hold you down, that they was going to have a conversation with you. What do you think is going to happen? Shout out to the super chats. I'm going to read those shortly.
14-year-old Devin Baker at the bedroom window of Aaliyah Wallace's 8-year-old daughter early morning, December 14th.
It's bothering me that he was a kid.
The incident happened not long after police left Wallace's home after responding to her 911 call about someone trying to break into her duplex.
So I called him at 1:22 a.m. We talked for like 30 minutes. They did a report, took pictures of everything, and then they left.
I believe there were reports that you had been burglarized or attempted burglaries before?
Yes, I have like 3 or 4 police reports before this night.
So at what point do we start calling criminals instead of calling them good citizens of America? And we don't know what happened, and they need to investigate people defending their homes. I don't blame this woman one bit. And she got good hair. I don't know if that's a wig. I don't know if it's a weave. But this woman seems scared out of her mind. And she very much, in my opinion, should have the right to be able to defend her household and her little kids as somebody is crawling in the window in order to commit a crime against them. What the heck is going on?
What has happened since this incident?
The apartment called and told me that I was not supposed to have a gun at all, even though I kept calling them and telling them somebody was breaking in. They told me I could not have a gun and that I have 30 days to vacate.
And how does that make you feel?
Wow.
Feel like I'm back at square one. I've been.
So now she being evicted from the apartment that she was at because she actually defended her family from God knows what. I would actually give to her GoFundMe. I would actually give to her GoFundMe just because I don't agree with how she's being treated. I don't agree that the people that are abiding by the laws of the United States of America and trying to prevent themselves from being taken advantage of should be held accountable for something that somebody else did against them.
There for 6 years, so now I don't know what to do.
This case is going to the grand jury. It's a referral, as they call it, and they're going to let citizens decide. What do you want people to know about you, Aaliyah Wallace?
That I was only protecting my kids.
Now her case has got to go to a grand jury, and the citizens are. This is wrong. This is wrong. The citizens are going to decide her fate. What is going on? Even in Texas? And the good Lone Star state of Texas? This is going to a grand jury as a result of referral, and they're going to decide her fate. Because you couldn't get your kid under control and it was crawling into my daughter's window. I just want y'all to be aware of what's happening out here in these streets. I want you to be aware of what's going on. I want you to know that you are not, when I say that you are not safe, when somebody else raises their kid to be a criminal, you now have to pay the price for that. When somebody else raises their children to be criminals, you have to pay the price for it, with your tax dollars, imprisoning, rehabilitation, social services, everything. And now when they releasing balloons into the air in his honor, you got to defend yourself from being evicted in your freedom. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're going to continue with the show. I told y'all we had a full show today. I'm sorry that I got to break this news to you on Christmas, but we got a full show today. Shout out to Florida Panoramic says, welcome back to the city. I'm happy to be here, my friend. I'm happy to be here, my friend. Wealth Building Journey in the building says, truly regrettable. This is the consequence of a failure of parenting, or more accurately, a lack thereof. Sending prayers out to everyone involved. I'm sorry. Do they deserve all? Okay, so let me ask this other question, Wealth Building Journey. Because I know that we'd like to do a blanket statement, and I could be wrong. Does everybody in this situation deserve our prayers? Or am I being too real? Or am I too cold-hearted? I'm curious in the chat. I'm about to put a poll up in the chat. I didn't expect to put a poll up today. Because I know that we like to be nice, and I know that we like to do it. I'm going to put a poll up in the chat. I don't even know if I know how to do a poll anymore. I'm going to put a poll up in the chat, and my question is, does everybody deserve our prayers? There we go. That's the poll. I just put a poll up in the chat. I want y'all to vote on the poll. The poll says, does everyone, even criminals, deserve our prayers? And it's not let them get what they deserve or pray for everyone. That's the poll. I just want to know. I'm curious because I could be wrong, and so I want to make sure that we all on the same page. Let me continue to read this. Carmen says, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Shout out to Carmen. I appreciate you, baby girl. Merry Christmas to you also. Jacqueline Moore says, my father died 50 years ago and I still miss him. My father had a very strong impact in my life. Fathers are very much needed. God bless you and your family. Shout out to Jacqueline. And listen, even 50 years ago, The lessons that your father gave you impacted you all the way up into today. Shout out to you and God bless your family. God bless your family during these holidays. Let me see what the poll is saying right now. I'm going to leave it up for an entire segment. Poll right now is saying 42%, 43% is saying pray for everybody over 200 votes. And then 58% it says, nah, let them get what they deserve. What you got going on, Anna? Huh?
Listening to your conversation.
Anna, you want to say hi to the people?
Sure.
All right. Anna want to say hi to the people. Say what up, Anna.
What up, though?
Yeah.
Let's go with the blue shirt.
Yeah, I know. You like that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's continue on with the show. I'm going to leave that up. I'm going to leave that up for the entire time, all right? I'm leaving the poll up for the entire next segment, and then I'm going to read the results when we get done. All right, let's continue. What do we have up next? Oh, Stephen A. Smith. So we're going to bring Stephen A. Smith up to the front of the congregation. Now, last week I did a segment on Stephen A. Smith, but you guys did not tell me that Stephen A. Smith was out here simping for more than just Taraji P. Henson. Let me go ahead and show y'all what's happening out here in these streets. Make sure y'all get the likes up, tap in. We're going to continue to rock out.
Greg Abbott, you ever heard of him? He's the governor for the state of Texas. On Monday, that governor, Governor Abbott, signed a bill into law that will allow the police to arrest migrants who enter the U.S. illegally. This law, which takes effect in March, allows any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest people who are suspected of entering the country illegally. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. And before I go a step further, there's an individual by the name of Krish, K-R-I-S-H, Omara Vignarajah, Vignarajah. That person is the CEO of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, says, quote, by criminalizing the very act of seeking refuge, Texas is turning its back on the values of compassion and due process that make our nation the world's beacon of humanitarian leadership.
Stephen A. Smith. Now remember, I got a new nickname for Stephen A. because I didn't know that Stephen. Oh, Micah, you just said it. Stephen A. Snip. Snip. Stephen A. Simp. Stephen A. Simp is out here getting mad at Texas because of a law. Think about the law that he just said. Let me play it again for you. One more time. He don't like Greg Abbott.
He's the governor for the state of Texas. On Monday, that governor, Governor Abbott, signed a bill into law that will allow the police to arrest migrants who enter the U.S. illegally.
He signed a bill into law. Now, this is according to Stephen A. Smith's words. What's up, D Fuego? I'm D Fuego. I'm going to read that shortly. Dr. D's, I didn't even give my opinion yet. I just said that I'm going to put a poll up and then I'm going to address it after this segment. Governor Greg Abbott, who I personally think is the best governor inside of the United States of America, signed a law that basically says it gives the power over into the police force on every level to arrest people who have crossed over into the country illegally. Illegally. I'm trying to understand what's the problem with that. What is wrong with us keeping up our laws? What is wrong with us keeping up our laws? Okay, let's continue.
This law, which takes effect in March, allows any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest people who are suspected of entering the country.
Which means that you get your day in court. How is it any different from anything else? If you are suspected of robbing a bank, usually you get arrested. If you are a suspect, I don't even have to explain this. This is child's play. But let me let him get his thoughts out because I have not seen what it is that he has to say across the board. But I'm surprised that y'all let this slip through my fingers and y'all didn't bring this to my attention.
Illegally. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. And before I go a step further, there's an individual by the name of Krish, Krish, Omara Vignarajah, Vignarajah. That person is the CEO of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, says, quote, by criminalizing the very act of seeking refuge, Texas is turning its back on the values of compassion and due process that make our nation the world's beacon of humanitarian leadership. That is one way to put it. There are various other ways to put it. This is a disgrace. It's inhumane. And it opens the floodgate to further divide our nation, because when you have law enforcement that literally can arrest people over a suspicion, think about that for a second. People can be arrested who are suspected of entering the country illegally. Do you realize that that means a law enforcement official can walk up to somebody, all right, they look Hispanic.
But the problem is that it's not just Hispanics. It's Somalians, it's Asians, it's people that look like you, it's people that look like me, it's largely Venezuelans that come over here, it's babies that's walking in the streets of Chicago with no parents and no pants on. That's basically walking over here and they're going to catch the bus to Chicago. And now we've blurred the line so much because we so busy being woke that we don't even know what the difference is between illegal immigration and asylum seeking. They're waiting on trains. There's 12,000 people that's walking over here every single day and jumping the fence and cutting holes in it with coyotes on them and all of this other types of coyotes, meaning people that are bringing them over here in order to cross over into the country illegally, and they making huge profits as a result of it. They're getting paid to do so. There's people that's literally walking over into this country that has no business being here. And instead of us holding the people that decided to leave the borders open I don't see one live stream where Stephen A. Smith is addressing Kamala Harris or Joe Biden and saying, why is our borders, because you got to remember, Kamala Harris was the border czar. She was supposed to be the person that saw for this. And Joe Biden is the one that says not one more piece of border fence is going to be built while we're over here giving in one shot, one opportunity to see everything you ever wanted. Shout out to Eminem. $60 billion over into Ukraine just because Zelensky came over here and asked for it. And they're holding the border hostage in order to get funding for Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. But we're sitting here having a conversation about why we should not protect our borders and do everything that we can in order to ensure that people are not just walking over here roughshod and doing whatever they want to do. So you could just walk over. Border Patrol, sheriffs, cops can just see you doing some of the most egregious stuff. Because remember, everybody is a suspect until proven guilty in a court of law. Everybody is a suspect. You are a suspect. If they could watch you do something and then you're still suspected of a crime, but according to the laws, you're innocent until proven guilty. But they supposed to just sit there and just let it happen because of your woke mindset and policies. And see, this is what I mean by, I think that a lot of these guys are parading around acting like they alphas when they really betas. I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it. And I think that we need to start putting these woke laws and these woke policies and these woke people that advocate for it. Listen, you good at sports, family. You was wrong about Taraji, you wrong about this, and you've been wrong about a lot of other things. You good at sports. I'm going to give Stephen A. Smith, you know the thing that I'm going to start doing in 2024? Before I go in on a difference of opinion or having a difference of perspective on what I see a lot of these people say, I'm going to give a compliment. That's what I'm going to work on in 2024. That's one of my resolutions. I'm going to give a compliment of something that I like about somebody before I hold them accountable for something. And Stephen A. Smith, I love the fact that you are passionate, well-spoken, knowledgeable, and great at what it is that you do from a sports perspective. I think that you are incredible. You're an incredible sports analyst, and you're great at entertaining us when it comes to understanding the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But on border policies and relationships, boy, if you don't get your hairline up off this screen, boy, if you don't get your Stephen A. Simp behavior off the screen, you ain't nothing but Sasha Fierce. Stephen A. Smith is nothing but Sasha Fierce. When it comes to his takes on sports, he's Beyonce. When it comes to everything else, he becomes Sasha Fierce. This boy don't got it. I'm gonna read that super chat shortly.
Okay, their English is broken. They don't speak fluid English. So that could be a cause for me to arrest them. Let them deal with the problems later. Ladies and gentlemen, to get out of jail, bail costs money.
So
it ain't free. To hire a lawyer, that costs money.
Maybe we
should free.
Maybe we should go with Chicago's Safety Act.
You have essentially opened up an avenue to incarcerate people for no cause whatsoever other than a particular law enforcement official's suspicion.
Nope, it's because you're leaving the borders open.
That's what we're going to do to our Latino brothers and sisters.
It's not about Latinos. And see, this is how I know that a lot of these guys are not familiar with what's going on in American politics. They have nothing to understand as far as immigration laws. They have no understanding, on what's going on as far as government security, lobbyists, all of the things that's happening. See, they know sports. And they spend a lot of time understanding sports, but they have no clue on what's happening at y'all borders. They have no clue that over 15, 16 million people that we can identify, not even the ones that we can't identify, but 15 to 16 million people have walked over into this country over the last 2 years. That there are budget deficits in Chicago, Denver. Texas has to invest in itself and to protect itself. You got New York, the city that he says that he loves so much, is cutting sanitation, education. They're spending over $500, $600, $700, $1,100 a day in order to support, feed, house over 200,000 people that go to school. Students are homeless every single day. We have a crisis on our hand because we are just too lackadaisical, or we just don't care, or they're leveraging these migrants and this migrant crisis in order to push some kind of agenda in the future, in order to make these people future Democrats. And you're sitting here getting mad at Texas governor for doing the thing that's in the best interest of the residents of his state, despite the fact that there's a lot of people that disagree with him. But he got to make the hard decision. That's what being a leader is. Stephen A. Simp. Let me hear you. I'm gonna let y'all hear the rest of what he got to say.
It's racist. Somebody needs to say it, so I'm gonna say it. It's a racist ass thing to do. Suspicion?
It's racist.
Suspected of entering the country illegally. How can you be suspected of entering the country illegally? So you chilling in downtown Dallas or Houston. You hanging out with a bunch of folks. You're speaking Spanish instead of English. Your clothes might not be a Tom Ford suit or something. You might not be wearing a Jordan sweatsuit. You might look a little poor and impoverished, a bit haggardy or haphazard. Those things you might not look the part. That's a suspicion.
Is this guy so far out of touch? Is this guy this much out of touch? Honestly, is he that far out of touch? I know he be here in Miami a lot, and he be hanging out down here, but is this guy that far out of touch? That's all I'm asking.
They can literally label that as suspicion to justify arresting you, not questioning you, not asking for an ID. They literally can arrest you. That's criminal.
It's not.
See, what we're really learning here is that there are levels of enslavement.
So y'all voluntarily, illegally crossing over into a country so that you can get enslaved. Oh man. These wokies. These wokies are crazy. These wokies, these Stephen A. Smiths are crazy.
Yeah, I can deport you. I could send you back. Or I could keep you incarcerated. You can feed the system. Another body in there. We know the prisons throughout this nation, to some degree anyway, have been privatized. We do know that, right? You do.
This man is 100% off his rocker. Yo, and see, I know he wanted to start the Stephen A. Smith show so he could talk about issues that have nothing to do with basketball, football, baseball, soccer. Y'all got to learn to stay in y'all lane and leave it to the professionals. Leave it to the people that's well-researched and understand what's happening on the ground. Leave it to the people that's willing to fly over into these spaces and see what's happening in these cities. Leave it to the people that's actually participating in the election process and understand what's going on the ground. Because you have no clue what he's talking about.
You know that there are people profiting off of folks getting incarcerated, right? If you don't believe me, go back and look at 13. That documentary on Netflix.
Oh, God. Jesus. I thought he was intelligent. I genuinely thought he was intelligent. He's referencing a documentary on Netflix called 13.
Directed by Ava DuVernay. Go back and look at things like that, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Nah, I'm all right. I'm going to go ahead and pass on this. And again, objectively, I like Stephen A. Smith as a sports commentator, but I think that this guy is completely tone deaf of what's going on in this country and that our borders are absolutely being overrun. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and we're going to continue over with the show. Jay Denoir says, it's always some single baby mama talking that my baby ain't do nothing to nobody's nonsense. Yeah, right. That boy was on his way to armed robberies, drive-by shootings, and a homicide. Shout out to you, my friend. Y'all showing up today on Christmas. It's over 1,600 people in climbing on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all kids. Send them back over there with their mama and come on over here to the Millionaire Morning Show. D. Fuego says, hey, Anna. Oh, shout out to D. Gotta love Silverado says, Stephen A. is listening to himself. I don't know why. Shout out to Stephen A. Gotta love Silverado says, I'm quite sure if they're legal, they will have a state ID or some documentation. This is straight Democrats talking point. Anna, they said hi.
Hi. Anyone single, successful, 20-something?
You want to talk to him, Anna?
No, not yet. Let me get what I'm going to say straight.
You gonna get your stuff straight? All right. And then we're gonna come back to Anna. I love Dayton, Los Angeles says if they set up tent cities in Stephen's place, then he'll get a different reaction. Okay. All right. State of Community says, don't forget Stephen A. works for Disney. They didn't fire him during the ESPN layoff, so now he has to kiss the ring and be a good boy. Oh, that is a good point. Dark Knight 1838 says, 80, I have to disagree with you. You should, on this one, open up the phone lines. Open up what phone lines? To talk about Stephen A. Smith? I'll think about it. It is Christmas. I will think about it. Chris Simmons says, just wanted to wish you and a fam Merry Christmas. I'm really starting to see what you mean by the OGs are failing us. And what makes it worse is they getting bold and standing on bigness on their decisions. Shaking my head. Agreed. Amir Taylor says Stephen A. Simp is the greatest weak man. I don't know if he's the greatest, but I think he deserved to be on the right Mount Rushmore right now. I think he deserved to be on Mount Rushmore right now. I don't know if he's the greatest weak man, but I think he deserves to be on Mount Rushmore right now. Up. AL says, hi, Anna. Oh. Anna just flew in today. Just picked her up from the airport. Y'all leave Anna alone. I got Anna over here. Anna, no. Are you what?
Am I cramping your style by sitting here?
No, you could. You could stay right there. You could stay right there. All right. Oh, what you got going on in there? Well, let me see.
She looks good.
Turn around. I don't know about that. All right.
You're like, we're not doing a little distance game.
Oh, man. I got to move on to the next thing. I'm being distracted. What you about to do?
I don't know yet.
All right, y'all stay there for a minute. Stay there. Let me see. Let me continue over with the show. We got to get over into. We got a couple more segments that we got to get into. Did y'all know that Migrants is getting hotel rooms again over in A1 hotel rooms again over in Illinois and Chicago? Let me bring y'all up to speed of what's happening out here in these streets. Oh man, I don't even have no picture. Oh, there we go. All right.
The state of Illinois stepping in to support Chicago's response to an influx of asylum seekers from the southern border in recent days. The state is temporarily putting up hundreds of new arrivals in hotel rooms. WGN's Angelica Sanchez has details. Angelica.
Well, Jackie, state officials say these hotel rooms came at the city of Chicago's request, and additional shelter sites are now being explored. The state of Illinois is announcing 30 hotel rooms are now available for 200 asylum seekers. The state says this is a temporary but necessary response to the unprecedented number of migrants coming from Texas in recent days.
I'm glad they have hotels open for the migrants. They should have done that a long time ago, to be honest with you.
On Sunday, a group of community activists held a press conference against housing migrants at the former St. Bartholomew Catholic School on the north side.
There should be fairness when it comes to poverty.
They say Chicago's existing homeless community is not getting the same treatment as the migrants.
How are we going to treat strangers better than we treat our own people?
And I agree. I 100% agree. How do you then make sure that you're going out of your way to take care of people that don't even live here, is not even from here, have no documentation, we have no way in order to be able to track them? How do you then allocate resources from taxpayers against taxpayers' will to support people that have no long-term prospects and to take care of them and put them in hotel rooms? I don't understand. I don't get it. So it's been a homelessness crisis that has not been solved for since I've been alive, because that was one of my passion projects. There's been a homelessness crisis that has not been solved for, and all we continue to do is throw money at the problem. Now we throw money at the problem at an accelerated rate for people that's not even inherently from here. Now, the other side of it is this. I agree with him in that we've never done anything for anybody that lives here, but nobody cared about people that didn't live here until migrants started coming. And then people wanted to start becoming woke and saying, what we gonna do about the people that live here and why are we allocating resources for them, but we don't allocate resources for people that's already been here? Because I remember this also. See, I have a long memory. I got that memory of an elephant. I remember this also. And you know what I remember? I remember during the pandemic, people were pissed. You know why? Because they were putting up homeless people inside of hotels in cities like New York. Yeah, I remember. Now, again, I'm against what's happening as far as this illegal immigration into the country. But I also remember that y'all didn't start caring about homeless people until migrants started getting hotel rooms also. Because when they were putting them in and they were having conversations and they had them up for years inside of hotel rooms like New York, everybody was feeling a certain way and people didn't even want to visit the city anymore. So much so to where I had to put off one of my meetups because they were saying that homeless people and migrants and they were still taking over the hotels in New York. Yeah, because during the pandemic, they wanted to get them off the street. And so they said that they was going to put them in hotel rooms. So New York has been allocating portions of their budget over into housing people that are, now they're defining them as unhoused. They've been putting up their budget for a long time. That's why they have such a budget shortfall, because they so far into a deficit that they now have to start justifying how they're spending their money. And now that they're going over it with a fine tooth comb, because remember, and this is the reason why people like Stephen A. Smith, they out of their element, because they don't understand what's really happening out here in these streets. They don't understand what's happening on a political level. They don't understand what's happening with the budget. And so they're speaking on things that they're out of their element for. As long as you declare something as an emergency or a crisis in most of these states and cities, basically it gives the mayors and the governors control over what to do with the money, the budget, and the resources, even to drive the city into bankruptcy or into a deficit. And so that's why Lori Lightfoot had already been driving Chicago into a deficit way before Brandon Johnson got into it. Brandon Johnson just exponentially accelerated what was happening in Chicago. New York was already at a decline and under duress. And so now that the migrant crisis is coming in, what they're doing is they're blaming it on the migrant crisis, when in reality, they should have been blaming it on Biden and the federal government and the whole situation that was tied to the pandemic in the first place. Nobody was paying attention to the budget because everybody was distracted over A, Black Lives Matters, and then B, getting a free stimulus money. See, I'm going to break it all the way down for you. Nobody cared. And as long as they blew the budget out of control, and they had billions and trillions of dollars flying out, and we was running up the federal deficit, and the cities was at a disadvantage, and as long as they got Orange Man Bad out of there, right? Because Florida was different. And that's why I moved down here. Florida was still open. Businesses was running. People was still thriving. People was buying cars. It was running up the numbers, and it was buying property, and all of the money was still flying. But then when they basically allowed for them to spend whatever they wanted, and they had no control, they had no discretion, the city council wasn't determining what's happening, and they basically handed the election over on a silver platter, because they then allowed for the states to weaponize their own residents and their budget against whoever it is that was in office at the time. Now they want to go back, and this is one of the reasons I believe that Biden is probably disassociating himself with these people that's turning against him, because he supported them before. See, it's a good old boys neighborhood and network, and he supported them, and they supported him when they was getting him into the election. But now they saying, I need you to scratch my back because I got a budget deficit and I need these federal dollars. And he said, nah, we got to send this money over to Ukraine. We got to make sure that we battle against China with Taiwan. And we got to send this money over to Israel, because all of the people that's lobbying and keeping me in office is making sure that I'm staying sufficient and that they funding what's going on with this election. But nobody cared about the homeless people. Nobody cared about the homeless people. They was actually mad that they was putting them inside of the hotel rooms, and they was saying, send us some more money. But now they care about the homeless people because they got somebody else to weaponize as an enemy, which they shouldn't be here already. But this is the reason why y'all got to stop voting based off of identity politics. And you have to start voting based off of what makes sense, because where the money is going is where you can start following a pathway to understand whether or not these people is doing the right thing or not. This is about to become a political show in a minute, boy.
Many buses transporting migrants are avoiding the city's designated landing zone in response to tougher penalties for bus owners who violate a new city ordinance. Buses are now dropping off migrants in areas outside Chicago like Kankakee, Aurora, and Hinsdale. Police say on Saturday nearly
100 super chat shortly.
migrants were dropped off in Elmhurst and given train tickets to Chicago. The Illinois Department of Human Services says migrants in hotels will eventually be moved to a former CVS store in Little Village. The store is under construction to become a shelter in January. The state says additional shelter sites are being explored.
Let me bring y'all up to speed of what's happening in other parts of the country also.
Colorado First now in Denver. In less than 24 hours, 16 buses packed with migrants arrived in Denver. The city of Denver confirms 9 bus loads arrived last night, 7 this morning from Texas. Overall, there are about 3,800 migrants right now in shelters in the metro area. This comes as it is expected more than 10,000 migrants crossed the southern border into the United States in each of the last 3 days. Your reporter, Brian Sherrod, is live in Denver right now. Let's go to him. Brian, you met with many of the migrants today who are unsure what to do next.
And Alan, the city of Denver tells me at least 340 migrants have been dropped off here since last night, and many of them don't even know where they are. They're unfamiliar with this area. Now, with them being in the area of Zuni and Spear, many people tell us, including one woman who works there, that it's just making it difficult for her to work in the area right now. This has become ground zero for migrants.
Look at the Carter. I want y'all on Christmas. Y'all ain't got nothing better to do tonight, except for tune into the Q show tonight, and I'm gonna be on there, and we're gonna be rocking out. I want y'all to look at Denver, y'all. We largely letting Denver. I'm not for long, because 2024 gonna be the year of Denver, and I'm not talking about Colorado either. I ain't talking about Deion Sanders. I'm talking about what's happening in America. Look at Denver. I want y'all to watch New Jack City tonight. I want y'all to watch New Jack City. Not so y'all can associate it with the Tiffany Henyard Dalton mayor, so y'all can try to figure out how she running the city. I want y'all to look at the Carter. Look at the part with the Carter when they was running the whole building and it looked like a crack house. That is an American city. That is Denver. No, it's not Iraq. No, it's not Ukraine. No, it's not in bad parts of Russia. It's not Somalia. Nope, it's not none of that. That's not the bad part of Nigeria. That's not, no, it's not. That's not the burned down part of Maui. That is Denver, Colorado. That is an American city ran by city council members. Mayors have structure, a budget, tax-paying citizens, police officers, sheriffs. Recently passed over the last few years the marijuana law that was supposed to generate a lot of money. This is Denver. Denver. This is a major American city, and it looks like Haiti. Do you want to understand why Stephen A. Smith, Greg Abbott is trying to solve for the border crisis? It's because he doesn't want the entire state of Texas, which is on the front lines of migration into the country, to look like that.
In Denver, many struggling for food and money, even asking our crews for help while we were there. All the migrants we spoke with didn't speak English, but through translator, we found out they are originally from Venezuela, Colombia, and Guatemala.
Maybe we should just let them keep on coming over without any kind of problem. Maybe they're just sitting in the bar like Stephen A. Smith described, and they're just having a drink and looking a little tattered. Although they're not able to speak any English, they walking around asking for money, no job, no nothing. And this is the way, no sanitation, alleys smell like piss.
Jarena, who works at the Shell gas station at Spear in Zuni, tells us she tried to help but didn't get a good response.
They speak bad to me. I'm the only one who speaks Spanish. I try to help them and try to explain the rules, but they don't like it. Too many.
She said, I'm speaking Spanish. I'm one of the very few people over here that speak Spanish, and they talking junk to me. She didn't say that they was nice. She didn't say that they was thankful. She didn't say that they feel good. Listen, this ain't Stephen A. Smith. This ain't Taraji P. Henson. This is a woman that looks very similar to them, that speaks it and has a job and is trying to figure it out and clean it up every day. She said that they don't like what she even tried to do to help them, and they talk evil, negative, and they got a bad disposition towards her. This is not my opinion. This is what's being shared. Let me read the poll that y'all put up. 642 votes. Woo! I gotta wait till this break up. 642 votes. I says, does everyone, even criminals, deserve our prayers? 50% said pray for everyone. 50% said nah, they get what they deserve. I'm gonna leave that up until the end of this segment. Y'all 50-50 on this one. All right. It's fierce. If you have not voted for the poll on YouTube, make sure you tap into YouTube. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
People, they are so bad with me and with my boss.
3,800 migrants are currently staying in 7 shelters, specifically for migrants across the city. But resources are dwindling.
We can run out of room. We can run out of resources. We're already limited as is, and it's just straining an already strained system even further.
With the shelters reaching capacity, the city is working to find migrants jobs and housing. They tell us they are doing whatever they can to keep everyone off the streets, especially children.
So we recognize everything is much more difficult with a child. That's why we've given families that more time. We don't want children on the streets. We don't want anyone on the streets.
Dorina tells us she is thankful for the city's help, but resources need to come faster for these migrants. They are making it harder for her every day.
We have to take the stick to clean the window because they still every night too.
Welcome to America, y'all. The latest third world country. Let me see what the polls say. Did y'all break up that 50%? The polls still say it's 661 votes. It's still 50-50. I have no 660 votes. It's still 50-50. I can't believe it's still 50%. Soon as I get 51%, 40. All right, we just going to go with the 50-50. In poll, 50% to 50%. Oh, 50 to 49. So y'all say pray for everyone, 50%. Nah, let them get what they deserve, 49%. What I guess that's that one because it's 663 votes instead of 662 votes. So all right, I see y'all. Y'all on the fence. Y'all said pray for the people that's robbing y'all too. I'm with it. What kind of prayer y'all got for them? That's what I want to know. Let's continue. Let me read some of the super chats and then we're gonna get on with the show. Hold on, let me remove JB Pritzker. If a lot of y'all don't know that's the governor of Illinois. Devastator says, pass that bill over here. Shout out to you, Devastator. I appreciate you. Greg Charlie got a couple coming up. Says, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Thank you for $5. Greg Charlie also says, my cousin just drove up from Chicago yesterday. He said it's much worse in person. The news is only showing snippets. Y'all think I should go to Chicago? Maybe I should put that as a poll. Should I go over to Chicago and visit and document what's going over in Chicago for one weekend? We'll see. I might head to Chicago in a couple weekends. Brock says Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. Thank you, Brock. I appreciate you for the $5. Tanisha, shout out to Tanisha says, it's so bad in Los Angeles, you wouldn't even recognize it. The majority of the people here don't even speak English. 187 says, Happy Holidays, big bro. Everyone needs prayer. Even you peeled they cap back. Lord, forgive them for they know not what they do. I think they know what they do, 187. I think they know what they do. Listen, I believe that everyone needs to be prayed for. But what we praying, I think that's the context, all right? Let me share this one more thing with you guys, and then I'll even open up the phone lines if anybody got a disagreement with me. But I'm not going to leave it open long if you guys are not calling in because it is Christmas, and Anton is going to take a nappy nap out here in these streets, you know what I'm saying? Jacques Quell, let me read this other super chat real quick. It says, Jacques Quell with the $5 says, greetings and blessings, happy holidays. This is Hades, Exodus 200. The USA is paying for the sins of their fathers. Haiti was in this predicament. Sure enough. El General Del Air with the $10 ball. All right, I appreciate you. Says, oh, shoot, hold on. Let me get that one. Says, I'm originally from Peru, and those Venezuelans did the same in Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, and Panama. They have ruined our cities and riddled them with crime. Now they're coming here. Be careful out there. That's straight from El General Del Air. Ayuang Roy with the $5 says, what would you do with $5,000? Invest it or keep saving? I will pay off debt. and then I would invest it. I would put it into a brokerage account, and then I would actually do my research on the things that actually makes the most sense from an investment perspective based off of what you understand. Make sure you, first of all, I would take $15 of that $5 and I would invest it into the Patreon. So make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then I will pay off debt and then I will go from there. So shout out to you. I appreciate you for the super chat. Thank you, my friend. Couple more super chats and then we're going to go over to the next thing. Andre and Andrea love crossing borders. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Says after living in South America for 5 years, the Biden administration is trying to get the oil from Venezuela again. Really? This is why 60% of the migrants are from there. Feliz Navidad. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. AL says, if you go to Chicago, you got to interview Lori and find out how she feels about being ousted and go to O-Blocked. Nope. Aaron trying to get me set up. Y'all need to hold Aaron accountable in the chat. Aaron told me to go to O-Block, y'all. I can get Lori Lightfoot on for an interview. Hey, write down Lori Lightfoot. We need to get her on for an interview. Now that she ain't in the office, she could tell us what she really feel. Get Lori Lightfoot. Aaron trying to get me set up. Aaron, I thought that you was my friend. We done did multiple different meetups. You know me in person. I mean, you trying to get me to go to O-Block? You know I ain't going to no O-Block, Aaron. If I go to O-Block, I'm taking a bus of migrants with me. If I go to O-Block, I'm taking a bus of migrants with me. And they going to be my protection. And I'm going to be the cameraman because you know the cameraman never dies. The cameraman never dies. Aaron trying to get me hit up because of what the Chicago is how Chicago turned out. I see what you're doing, Aaron. We got to get to the money, and then I'm going to drop the link in there for y'all to be able to cam up, or not cam up, but ask me whatever it is that you want to ask me. I just recently ran into an article where they're saying a record number of CEOs are quitting, and I'm trying to understand why. I have not seen this before. I want to make sure that we get to the money, and I wanted to review this, but I said that instead of me watching it alone, I'm going to watch it with my friends over at the Bag Chasers. Make sure y'all get that Teach Henley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. We just renewed our sponsorship deal. Shout out to Teach Henley. Then on top of that, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
The COVID-19 pandemic had a huge effect on the American labor force.
Do not call in unless you disagree with me. Do not call in, and I'm not going to put y'all on camera, and you could disagree with me about whatever it is. It's a special Monday. Do not call in unless you disagree with me.
More than 47 million Americans quit their jobs in 2021. More than 50 million quit in 2022. The so-called quit rate finally dipped back to pre-pandemic levels in April of 2023. Now there's another group of Americans leaving their jobs in record numbers, the big bosses. More than 1,500 CEOs have stepped down from their posts this year, according to a report by Challenger Gray and Christmas.
We're seeing the highest number of CEO exits that we've recorded over the first 10 months of any year since we started looking at this in 2002. This really is a huge exodus of CEOs.
The exodus includes some of the biggest companies, with CEOs departing from YouTube, BP, Walgreens, and X, formerly known as Twitter.
They still think that something bad is happening.
Now y'all got to remember, as y'all look at the list of these people, look at this. Let me go back over this again. BP, YouTube, Walgreens, X, formerly known as Twitter, and so on and so forth. A lot of these is not just people stepping down and quitting. A lot of these are people that's getting forced out. A lot of these are not people that's just stepping down and quitting. They are people that are being forced out of their position. Elon Musk came in and he fired everybody. Walgreens is at a disadvantage because they are absolutely going under based off of the fact that they're having bad earnings and they can't solve for the problem as far as people stealing from out of their stores. And then they can't compete against the CVS's. You know, when you see a lot of these different people, it's not that people are being fired. Is when it plays out at the top, most of the time they give you an option, right? They allow for you to be able to keep your equity, your stock options, all of that, right? But a lot of times they will force you out. So this is not just CEOs walking away a lot of times. and quitting. This is them being forced out by the board because these are publicly traded companies a lot of times.
Twitter.
They still think that something bad is happening around the corner.
Uncertainty is the killer right now for CEOs. CEOs need to know what the policy is. They need to know where interest rates are going. They need to know the macro environment, and none of that is clear at this moment.
The stress from heading a company during the pandemic is now exacerbated with headwinds from rising geopolitical tensions, stubborn inflation, and the lingering possibility of a recession. These trends not only affect CEOs, they can also lead to cost-cutting, hiring freezes, and layoffs affecting employees at every level. When unforeseen, tumultuous times like that occur, many companies like to retain their CEOs to help navigate them through the rough time. When those times end and normalcy returns, CEO turnover becomes more common.
I would say, and another interesting fact is, like, if you look at what happened over at Disney, and I pinned the link to the top of the chat for y'all to be able to call in. So I'm gonna start bringing y'all up probably within the next 5 minutes. When you see what happened, for example, over at Disney, Bob Iger retired, and he was largely considered to be one of the greatest CEOs of all time. And he retired right before the pandemic. Nobody foreseen, obviously, the pandemic coming. That could be debated too. But then the next Bob, I forgot what the next Bob's name was, but it was Bob something. And he had been with the company, and he was basically overseeing all of the Disney parks. And they had been thriving and growing throughout his tenure there. And so he handed over the reins, and then the company started going into financial ruin. Now, some people blame that on Bob Iger, who now is the new CEO again. So they brought him back out of retirement in order to try to right the ship. But he set things in place that basically allowed for, there's supposed to be a good handover into the next CEO. But Bob Iger basically presided over the company, and he did a lot of great things. He led the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He purchased, or he stewarded them through the purchase of a lot of different acquisitions. He was there when they bought the Star Wars franchise. He was there when they basically got into business as far as the whole Avatar franchise. And so they were thriving as they continued to grow, but he also did a lot of missteps that we didn't see until they start having the tumultuous times, such as trying to compete against Netflix with Disney Plus, pulling all of their IPs and their movies off a lot of these platforms in order to try to bolster their own streaming services instead of repositioning themselves, going into the woke movement and starting to lead the Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe in phase 2 down this bad path, creating and throwing a bunch of money into a lot of these bad movies. And so now when they brought him back, he fired the person that was a steward over the country over the company for a long time, in order to try to right the ship that was already going down based off of the things that he set forth in his tenure, right? And so the board approved for him to, or for the other previous CEO that replaced him, to get fired. It's not that these guys step down. They get a golden parachute. They get a bag. I mean, they get tens and tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars to ultimately leave the company. And then the new CEO steps in order to try to right the ship. We've seen this happen during the pandemic. We've seen it happen during the 2008 recession with Ford Motor Company. Alan Mulally came in from a major aircraft manufacturer in order to try to right the Ford Motor Company. They mortgaged the entire company, including the Ford logo, in order to try to survive through the recession, which they did. He was rewarded handsomely. He made hundreds of millions of dollars. But then on the flip side, when Mark Fields came in, who was largely with the company as an engineer all the way up and through that time, and then he replaced them, he was quickly replaced by a new CEO, right? Because the stock price didn't rebound as they thought that it would, as they continued to become more profitable and they was able to get out of the recession, right? And then ultimately, UAW struck because they said you've been taking care of the CEOs and all of this stuff this entire time. So there's more context to this surface level conversation of why CEOs ultimately quit companies. Most of them don't. They'll stay there as long as they possibly can until it's a merger, until there's a board approval or a board forces you out, or you make some huge mistake that doesn't give shareholders back a return on their investment, right? They want that stock price to go up. They want dividends to continue to be spread about.
There are at least 4 reasons
we doing Stock Club, and I don't know what the name of it is going to be, but it's going to be inside the Patreon. So I'm incentivizing you guys. I'm trying to convince you guys to sign up, because at least once a month, I'm going to be doing a review of what I have in my portfolio, the companies that I'm researching, and we're going to have debates and conversations on what we should invest in long term and the things that we probably should stay away from. And we're going to break it out into different industries: tech, automotive, manufacturing, textile, banking, and so on and so forth, right? In order to make sure that we're repositioning our portfolios here at the Bag Chasers to make sure that you guys get the best return possible, okay?
CEOs of S&P 500 companies commanded a whopping $16.7 million annual paycheck on average.
Let me break this down, and then I'm gonna start bringing y'all up. Why do CEOs make so much money? Because what people don't understand about executive compensation packages is that often, at times, they don't return back. This is the final stop for them. This is the final stop for them. A lot of them are already in comfortable careers, they're in great spaces. And so in order for them to take that position, you're going to really have to make it worth their while, because their compensation package is tied to the performance of the company. Most of their pay is based off of equity and bonuses. It's not in the base pay. As a matter of fact, a lot of them just make six figures in base pay, and then their equity and bonuses, which does not mature until later on, which incentivizes them to do the thing that's in the best interest of the shareholders. And that's why they have to do the thing that's going to be best for the company, because their success is tied to the success of the company. I think Andy Jasper didn't even make any money last year from Amazon. Andy Jasper, do y'all know who Andy Jasper is? Let me research to make sure he didn't get paid. Is it Andy Jasper? No, not Andy Jasper. Who is the CEO of Andy Jassy? Andy Jassy, that's his name. Andy, not Jasper. Andy Jassy, paid 2022. He was only paid $1.3 million in 2022, including a $317,000 base salary, another $981,000 in 401k plan contributions and security costs. In 2021, think about this for a minute. Amazon didn't do that well as far as profitability in 2022. In 2021, they boomed, because that was right after the pandemic, right? Or right during the pandemic. In 2021, he made $212 million. In 2022, including his 401k contributions and his $317,000 in base salary, he made $1.3 million. Their success and their compensation, and I know a lot of people, well, that was still a lot of money. Their success and their compensation is largely tied to the success of the company. And so when they have these vested options that they can then exercise after a certain period of time, which most times that they don't, because they don't want to pay the taxes that's associated with it, so they still incentivize to have the company be successful after that. It's only tied to that. So if the company don't do well, not only can you lose your job, but you also don't get paid that much. And so that's why they're incentivized to do the thing that's in the best interest of the shareholders. Why are you getting laid off? Because you're not adding no value into the company, and they can't justify you to the shareholders and keeping a division that just open just to give you a job. That's not what this is. When you are a publicly traded company or privately held company, you have to justify your existence because the marketplace is going to determine your success. And if you can't compete against other companies, including being nimble, being successful, merging different divisions, synergies, all of that stuff, then you are going to be on the outs, man. You're going to be on the outs. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up here in order to get y'all grievances off. And again, only if you disagree with me. Don't come up here talking about Anton, I got your back. I know you got my back. That's why you're a part of the Bag Chasers. Empire Foundation says, when visiting to Chicago, go to Hyde Park. It's south in Chicago, and there's a lot of our people there that are peaceful and about their business. I got to make sure these Chicagoans ain't setting me up. Let me do my research. Andre and Andrea Love Crossing Border says, the general is correct. Here in Colombia, the Venezuelans have brought major issues. We are glad to see them go. Also, due to low birth rates in the U.S., Biden is bringing in new taxpayers. Making sense. Thank you, Andre and Andrea. Jamal Fowler sliding through on a Monday. Happy holidays. Shout out to you, Jamal Fowler. Thank you, my friend. Let me see if I can get y'all up here. Let me see if y'all have some justification for why y'all thinking the way that y'all think. First, I'm going to go to Will. Give me a second. Let me get William
What's
up.
going on? What's going on, my man?
What up, William? What's the word?
What's up?
How's your
Man,
holidays and your Christmas going?
nah, no.
I see the babies
I'm
in the background. Okay. What's the
yeah,
word, big
I'm
dog?
in here cooking. I just got off. I just only had one thing, man. I was watching the one that you did earlier about the lady and she killed the little boy, the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I think we probably may be overlooking, we don't know the age of her daughter.
What difference will it make?
What if that was her boyfriend and he was sneaking in her room, trying to do what they do?
Well, yeah, that's one theory, but the problem with that is that she had already gotten her house broken into multiple different times, and on top of that, she had called the police to make police reports and stuff. So it doesn't align. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not trying to justify the
I
fact that
understand what you're
she
saying though.
do all that, but just it might be something deeper than that that they need to look into. That's why I kind of agree with what the mama was saying, because we know our kids. Even though I do know, with the fatherless households, it's a big problem. But for the most part, we know our kid. I know, like, if my son got killed or something like that, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Which is
can't
not
even
gonna
say that
happen.
because because he would be in the house. I would know he in the house, so that's why I kind of blame her on that one. But for the most part, I know my kids, and I know they ain't about to be breaking into no house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I had to say, bro, about
No,
that
I'm
one.
with that. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
It said, but let me give you some insight. It said the gunshots killed the 14-year-old Devin Baker, who was at the bedroom window of Wallace's 8-year-old daughter.
Oh, there we go. Never mind then.
Yeah, her daughter was only
Never
8 years
mind
old.
then.
Her daughter wasn't 14.
Yeah, so that ain't even the case. Well, I was wrong. I take that.
No, you wasn't wrong. We discovering it as we go. We figuring out the information as
Yeah, right. I'm minding it out. So yeah, I ain't gonna hold you though, bro. That's the only thing I had, man. And
Thanks for
have you
calling in, bro. Take care of them kids, man. You're a good dude.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got you, man. Take it easy, big dog.
All right, my friend.
All right.
Gangsta Love, you want to apologize to me now that I researched it and I brought out more information that actually justified my thoughts? The daughter was only 8 years old. Apologize to me, Gangsta Love. Apologize to me in the chat, Gangsta Love. Yeah, apologize to me. All right, so let me get up Trapping Raps. Y'all got some interesting names up here in these streets. Hold
Hell
on, give me a
yeah.
second. Give me a second. Give me a second. I got you. I got you. Trapping Raps, what up though?
Hey, what's up, man? I
Chilling,
just
chilling.
want to know why you scared to go to Chicago? I
I ain't
mean,
scared. I'm smart. Cause
I'll go.
y'all some hoodlums over there.
I ain't from Chicago. I'm from Kansas City.
Oh, well
But
then
I'm
that's
saying,
no. Oh no, Kansas City ain't too much better.
I know, right?
Y'all got some
Nah,
y'all doing the thing over there in Kansas City. I'ma just say that.
we kind of went through the same stuff in the '90s, and now like I'm seeing Chicago going through it. It's like wow, it's terrible.
You
But
scared of
like I
Chicago
wouldn't be
too. I don't
scared to
think
go up there.
you ain't scared. You ain't going to Chicago. Not by yourself.
Shit, I live in St. Louis.
So I lived in Detroit. What's the
That's not.
difference?
You're right, right.
Listen. This is
It,
what I
man,
want y'all to
man,
remember. This is what I want y'all to remember. Just because we come from the hood, don't make us invincible. We not superheroes. We was focused on getting
I'm
out of
not.
the hood, not trying to go and prove how strong we are in the hood. I don't even go back to the hood in Detroit. I'm not trying to hang out. Ain't nothing
I'm
there.
not.
Unless I'm buying a block up and I'm gonna gentrify it and move everybody out, I'm not going to visit.
I feel you. I'm not saying that you're scared. I'm saying like, why not go to Chicago and see what's going on?
I'm gonna
And,
go. I'm gonna just have I'm gonna have the military with me.
uh, right. Because I understand how we can't visit the block, but they can go up there and send these migrants up there, and they get a hood pass or something. I just don't get it.
That's
I'm
because they're
trying to
not
see
worried
what's
about
going
no.
on.
Listen,
That
you don't be worried about people that don't even speak the same language as you. They ain't tripping off of them. They trying to figure out how to get them out of there.
good point. Shit, I'm trying to run their ass down. But
So,
I just want to say my piece, man. That's
yo,
it.
Merry Christmas to you, big dog. All right, let me get next person up. Mosaic Monk. Mosaic. Only if y'all disagree with me. Don't be
Can you
trying
hear me,
to get.
bro?
Hold on. I got you. What's up, Mosaic Monk? What you got for me?
All right, so check it out. Big fan, but check it out, bro. I'm
Appreciate
from
you.
Chicago. Yep.
Okay.
And
I knew Chicago. I knew I was gonna get a Chicago one up here eventually.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You feel me? Detroit, the sister city. So you know I gotta show
No, we the
love.
brother. We the big brother. Y'all can be. Go ahead. I got you.
So I want to take a different angle. I disagree with prayer actually working.
Why is
I don't
that?
think prayer works. So I was watching a live stream of what was going on in Gaza and Israel, and I was watching the bombs being dropped before
Mm-hmm.
the bombs was dropped, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was watching another. It was another live going on of people praying for the people over there. So I
Mm-hmm.
ran a thought experiment. I put both pictures side by side of the people praying for the people in Gaza, and live I was watching the first bombs being dropped on them, and since that day there's been an exponential growth of people just getting blew up to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
So where does prayer work? Because I tell people all the time, before I pray for you, I would try to help you physically or financially. It might not be able to, pay your rent. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But if I could buy you a burger, I'm not gonna sit there and pray for you. God, please look over the person with the blood of Christ. That shit don't work.
Mm.
Prayer does not work. You gotta go out. You actually, I believe in, if you really feel a sentiment to pray for somebody, just help them physically, whether it's financial or whether it's, oh, don't pray to help me move my you need help with a mover. You ain't got no man in your crib, sweetheart. All right, cool. I'll come over there and help you move. I'm not gonna pray for you that you get movers.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
the one thing about God and even the Word of God is that it comes back down to this, and everything you do get understanding, right? Prayer is a form of communication with God. It's not supposed to substitute with you doing good things, right? The enablement
okay.
of you being able to make a smart decision for yourself is not a substitute for prayer. Prayer is nothing more than a communication tool. So I'll give you an example, and I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. In my opinion, I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. Let's say I pray for success, right? Or I pray for money. But what if I get what I prayed for, but it didn't come in a form that I thought it was going to be? Because me praying for money and not having understanding, or not also praying for humility, or not praying for understanding, or not praying for wisdom on how to use that money, right, would then create a situation where I got what I asked for, because I then start to manifest what it is that I asked for by then putting into action what I want, because prayer without works is dead. But then it's at the same time it comes to me, but I'm not able to really use it effectively because I didn't get the other things that went along with it. So I may pray for money, but then that allows for me to then be an asshole to somebody, because now I have more power to do the things that I wasn't able to do, but I'm just becoming more of what I already am. You see what I'm saying? So we like to equate prayer with, well, I can pray for you, but most of the people that have a mindset to pray a lot of times don't even have any understanding as to what they need to pray for. That's why when I pray, right? But when I go to God, I don't ask for things. I have never asked for anything for myself, and ever since, because this is the thing that I was taught. I ask God for strength to be able to carry out his will. I ask God to give me clarity and understanding on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing for him, right? Those are the things that I petition God for. And if you really understand the Bible, it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, everything else will be added unto you. So I don't have to ask for the stuff, because I have the faith, and the faith, me showing my faith, is the manifestation of my work. Faith without works is dead. So then I can manifest the greatness that come along with it. But I want to make sure that I'm doing the thing that he wants me to do, so that I can get it in his time, and then I can execute on whatever it is that I'm supposed to be executing on. And then you becoming a Christian, or you praying, does not automatically guarantee you success, because it rains on the just and the unjust. There are people with certain tasks and things that they're supposed to be doing in this lifetime, that then is the seed that then grows into and bear fruit, is somebody else that's supposed to come after you, that then executes on the vision, and you are supposed to just be the tree father. You're supposed to be the foundation. You might be put here in order to do something for somebody very small, that then creates a circumstance to where they can do the big thing that God has ordained for them to do. But prayer is nothing more than a communication tool. It's not a substitute for us doing the thing that we supposed to do, in the free will that we then exercise as gods, as many gods, as images of God, to do the thing that we supposed to do. That's why he gives us free will. And so prayer works if you understand what prayer is and you utilize it effectively. But a lot of
So
people, pray, but they have no relationship with God. And so just because you pray don't mean that you actually getting your prayers answered, or that you know how to utilize it effectively.
Okay, cool. So two things. In your previous live stream where you were speaking on the Navy Federal, and
Mhm.
you had the black man had said, and you said you said to the black man, if you got to pray that you get this loan,
Mhm.
even though he had the credit and everything. So it's like,
But
I'm
did
not gonna
he?
dis.
Because we had a minimal amount of information. We don't know what his debt to income ratio is. We don't know how much his bills are. He may have a good credit score, but that doesn't qualify you fully to be able to actually get the loan. We don't even know if he could have got a lower loan, but he applied for too much house. You see what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I understand that 100%. I get that 100%. And so, okay, so can you give me an example of uh how can a person pray,
Mhm.
and how do you see the results of it?
Well, it's not for you to see the results of it. That's A. It's not for you. That's why
Is
they
that in
say
the
pray.
Bible
That's
what
why.
you're saying? Is that in the
Yes,
Bible that I don't
it
see the
absolutely
results?
is. That's why literally there's songs and there's scriptures that basically summarize it, that says, don't pray and worry. If you gonna pray, then leave it up to God, but it's not up to you to then go back and verify whether or not God did what you told him to do. That's not how the order of things are. You pray and then you leave it up to him, because you don't have the understanding, and his ways are so far from our ways. So we may pray, but then the revelation may come later. So let's say, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say I'm dealing with a guy, or I'm a mentor of a guy, or I see a guy, right? And I fall down on my knees and I use my communication tool, which is prayer, and I'm petitioning God, right? And so I talk to him, and I go in my dark space, and I go in my prayer closet, and I see God on the first in the beginning of the morning, and I say, God, what would you have me to do? Give me clarification. How can I deal with this situation, or whatever? And I'm talking to him. Now, in any other circumstance, if you lean to your own understanding, you may go over there and give him something that then kills him because he's not ready for it. But because I'm petitioning God and I'm seeking insight, right? And it may not even come in the form of him talking directly to me, but it may come in a sign or a lesson or whatever, right? If I have God's ear because I built a relationship with him, then I'm getting that clarification. So God may tell me, yo, just be there for him when he's ready. Because me giving him that thing just enables him to do more bad things, but me allowing for him to go through it because only God knows what he's doing. Only God knows the true sentiments of his heart. Maybe that man is supposed to hit rock bottom so that he can come up out of it because he haven't learned a lesson yet. So we using our own limited amount of understanding of what we see and not necessarily what it is that we are supposed to seek God for in order to really, really be able to petition it. And that's why we need discernment. That's why we need God. That's why we have to go to God on our faces. That's why we have to have that communication tool, because we don't know what we don't know. Even as knowledgeable as we become, we don't know that person's past. We don't know what they did. We don't know what they got to atone for. We don't know what they're running from. We don't know if she got a self-inflicted wound that she needs to be responsible for so that her son can then grow up and be better than what she raising him to be. But you may do something that then enable her to be more of a bad person, thinking that you know when you're doing a good thing, but in reality, you stopping God from dealing with them the way that they're supposed to be dealt with. Or maybe they need that thing, and God is saying, give this to this person, and you can't understand why because you think that they're a bad person, but that may be the very thing that get them over the hump into the space that they're supposed to be, to meet the person that they're supposed to meet, but we don't know. And we using our own limited judgment and understanding. See, this is the reason why God say don't judge. The don't judge part is not holding people accountable. The don't judge part is don't assume that you know what's best for them because they may have to go through it or they may need this one thing. And so that's why they say obedience is better than sacrifice. Because you may sacrifice what you think is the best thing for. I'm going to give them my money that I worked hard for in order to give them this thing so that they can do this because it's a good thing to do. But you ruining their life. Obedience is better than sacrifice because you don't know. As smart as we become, as much as of a God as we are and made in the image of God, we're limited in our insight, understanding, and knowledge because we don't know what the plan is. And so you have to execute based off of the vision that God gave you and go forth without any kind of reservation whatsoever, because obedience is better than sacrifice because you don't understand what you don't know. You have no idea who's supposed to come 200 years from now, but the whole idea behind in the Bible, when God gave that promise to Abraham, that covenant, when he said your seed would number the earth, back then they thought that Abraham was just supposed to have a bunch of kids. The manifestation of that covenant came when Jesus then died for our sins, because what happens is we all became seeds of Abraham. But because they were working with limited amount of information, in hindsight, we can look at that and say, that's a lesson. We need to take that and implement that in our life. But in the limited amount of information that God gave to him, he told Abraham, be obedient, so that we can understand and get the lessons and it can be documented and applied to our life, because the word is always going to be the word. But that don't necessarily translate into you knowing. That translates into you getting rewarded for your obedience, not for your sacrifice. So prayer gives you the revelations that allow for you to continue to go forth in confidence in God and obedience, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to understand everything that you're doing. Get understanding as to why you're doing what you're doing, but you have no clue on what the results is going to be later on. That's why they say focus on the process. Today is the present. The results is from everybody else. It's the lessons learned that people can then lean on in order to understand how they're supposed to move on forward. Prayer works, but the problem is that what we are taught inside of these buildings and these synagogues and these churches, they teaching you to pray for what you want. They're not teaching you the word of God. The word of God is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Is one of the most beautiful things that you've ever seen in your entire life. But because we've been preached to and not giving understanding based off of the word of God, people are so focused on how they feel and keeping their congregation up instead of telling the truth and what God is telling them to do. The word is gorgeous, and the revelations of it, as you continue to read it and you continue to understand it, it is the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's why I go forth with so much confidence, understanding that God got my back, because I know who God is, and I talk to God every morning, and I understand what my purpose is, and I understand where I'm supposed to go, and I know what the purpose of prayer is. And as I continue to understand more, it just gives me more confidence, because I know that God ain't in no building. Church is in your heart based off of who it is that he aligned you with. And that's why he says he'll give you preachers and teachers after his own heart. It's not based off of what you think, it's based off of what you're supposed to be doing. And as long as you're obedient to the word of God, I'm telling you, he got your back. It may even seem like you're supposed to go this way, or this person is telling you this, or the woke mob or the general people is telling you something. Don't worry about who against you, because if God is for you, you gonna get yours. And your crown is in heaven, and you may have heaven on earth as far as him making sure that your life is good and easy and well taken care of. But again, your crowns come later. I'm not worried about what everybody else is talking about. I know what my purpose is, and I may even want to come on here sometimes and have these type of conversations, but God will tell me, and I'll pray in the morning and say, nah, that's not what I want you to talk about today. And in my heart, I'm bursting over, and I'm like, man, but the people need to hear this. And he's like, no, they're not ready for that. They're not ready for that. And so the prayer is the communication tool that I have with God, and it works. And you can't look at the evidence of what people are doing in the world in order to try to justify or then discard of whether or not prayer works or not. It works. I promise you. If you have enough time and you spend enough time talking to God, he will talk to you back. I
For
guarantee
sure.
you.
I like that explanation. I'm an atheist, but you definitely cooked. Everything what you said makes sense. You feel it was definitely palatable. So I appreciate you, brother. I thank you.
Absolutely, my friend.
For sure.
All right. O'Dane, I'm about to bring you up, big dog. Hold on one second. Go ahead. What's the word? What's up, O'Dane?
Hey, first of all, you can hear me clearly?
Yeah, what's happening?
Hey, happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays to you, my friend.
So I'm calling in because I'm a small business owner, right? And during the afternoon, I normally play your program, and the employees they normally watch. But I believe it was last month or sometime early this month, there was a program, and you were talking about the Navy Federal, and I believe the guy who was being interviewed was African. And you went off into a different topic, and you stated that a lot of people from the Caribbean and Jamaica specifically, they don't really like Black Americans like that. So that started a big debate, and I felt like it's my responsibility to call in to have you clarify, because I'm not sure if I understood exactly what you were saying.
About people that's not from here?
Yeah, about Black people from Jamaica and the Caribbean or Africa not liking Black Americans like that.
I don't think that the majority of people that come over into this country view Black Americans favorably. They look at them as lazy. Um, they don't necessarily associate themselves with them. And I think that they tolerate us because they have to exist amongst us in the same way that they tolerate everybody else. But I don't think that they champion our values. They don't look at us. They don't look at most. I'm not going to say all, because you can never say all. So when I speak in a general sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Black people that actually come from real poverty or worked hard to get here or making a sacrifice, they don't view Black people as favorably, like we try to make it out to be, like all Black people are the same.
Okay. All right. So I understood. I understood what you just said. Now, I'm gonna give you my perspective on why, because I initially disagree with you, but you just clarified what you actually meant.
So you
So
agree with me now?
yeah, I agree with you in a sense, but I'm gonna explain real quick. I'm not gonna take up a lot of your time. Trust me, I know we both have stuff to do after this. So I'm originally from Jamaica, right?
Hmm.
Um, I my wife is FBA, so my family is like intertwined. I involve her side of the family in my business too, so we all work together. So I came from Jamaica when I was younger. The first place we started at is in the hood. So right when I compare the hood here in America versus what we live in Jamaica, the difference with Black Americans, they tend to protect criminals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus in Jamaica, if you steal something and if you're a criminal, we don't care how old you are. There's no trial. You're done. If we
Right.
find out criminal in the community, we're gonna have the police hit you up and make it look like it was a shootout. And that's the way we normally get rid of criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So big issue is a lot of for myself, the issue was what I experienced was when I would try to have positive conversation, it was like now that I'm in the suburbs, I'm more aligned with the people that live next to me because we all agree that when a criminal comes around, we need to get that person the hell out of here. Versus when I was living in the hood, criminals come around and it's like, oh yeah, we gotta protect him because so that's where I know for a fact, because you talk about this on your show a lot, the criminals who are a stain to society, you talk
Mm-hmm.
about the issues a lot, and you clearly don't like them. So when some people from the diaspora, or whether it be Jamaica or Africa, I don't think it's a general sense of hate for African Americans as a whole.
I
I
think it's
think it,
you're right. It's a hate for. I don't even think it's hate. I think it's a very, very much a dislike for what fosters a bad criminal element that we don't necessarily think needs to be in our presence.
yes,
Yeah, I agree.
yes,
And that's
yeah.
why I
So
say that I say that black culture, as far as the things that we champion the most, is trash because it's the things that tear up our neighborhoods. It's the things that keep you poor. It's the things that create a culture that then centers around people having fatherless households and stuff. And so, because I don't like that, and because there's other people that don't look like me or is not from my culture don't like that, then I'm outcast as far as they don't think that I'm on code, but I don't want to be on code because I don't want to be a part of the thing that's the worst for us.
yeah, yeah, I totally agree, and yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I've been watching you for 3 years now, and it's like I know he ain't saying we just don't like them just to not like them. It gotta
Mhm.
be a specific reason. But yeah, I'll keep playing the program when I'm at the office and stuff. And
Shout
if the
out to you,
topic,
my friend.
yeah, I'll just clear it up so people can stop making it seem like I'm playing somebody who's stirring the pot. You know what I mean? But I appreciate it. I'll keep watching.
Thank you, my friend. Tell your people I said what up.
All right, we'll do.
All right, bro. I'm gonna go to Rick. Rick, hold on one
Hey,
second.
what's up?
Got you, Rick. What up, though, big dog? What's the word?
What they do, bro?
Chilling,
Welcome
chilling.
to
What's the
Miami.
word? What would you disagree with?
Well, it's not. I just have my opinion, and I'm just speaking from my own experience.
Mm,
I don't have a problem with praying for my enemies. You know, the situation you put a poll up. Should we pray for both sides, even though they're criminals? Now, it's a. I have an opinion about the whole situation because I am a parent of a 14-year-old daughter, and I get told a lot that I'm being hard on my child because I have so much restrictions for a
mm.
14-year-old. But up to that 13, 14-year-old boy is the reason why I have these restrictions. Like I don't allow my
What
child to
kind?
hang with,
Go
huh?
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna ask you what kind of restrictions are there.
Like I will not allow my child to hang out with friends at night, and if I don't even know who the parents are.
That's not
I
strict.
think that's a no go.
That's called being a parent.
Right.
Mm,
But I get told you're not giving her no freedom. What freedom do a 14-year-old need?
They
And
don't.
and when when I see the results on your show, with the lady 14-year-old child being killed, these are the results when you don't have no restriction on a child. I believe if you discipline a child when they grow up, they have self-discipline.
Correct.
I'm 35. I'm 35 years old, and I try my best not to be outside past 10 p.m. It's nothing going on outside.
That means that
You
you're a
know what I'm
good
saying?
father.
Right. But
You
I
a
get criticized
listen,
for that.
listen, listen, listen. Don't pay attention to what the majority say. Pay attention to what the people that's doing it right says. As long as you focus on the results, stop worrying about what these people think. You are a great father. If it was up to them, you would be running a fatherless household, or you would be a pookie, or you'd be running around getting a whole bunch of chicks pregnant and not even knowing who your kid is. That's what majority of society is dealing with. You're a great father. You're an awesome man, and the fact that you are an example of the man that you would want your daughter to marry is the only thing that matters. Because ain't none of them people that's having a conversation with you or saying that about you gonna be there if anything was to happen to her. You the only person that's gonna be there. So the way
Well,
that you raise a child up is the way that they're gonna be when they get older.
well, here's the thing, Anton. I gotta hold myself accountable too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my child was conceived when I was at age 19. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
jumped out the porch too early. You feel me? Cause my dad, he was real strict, and I was more focused on him being hard on me because I would listen to my, kids my age. I had older cousins and auntie was telling me right around the same age my child is, oh, your dad's too strict. So it made me rebel, and
Yeah, but you
and I
came
and
back
I
to
and I
it
see
though.
my
See, it's not.
yeah, but
Listen,
I'm
listen,
still
listen.
paying for it though.
It
I'm
doesn't
still
matter.
hold on,
Structure.
Anton, auntie,
Go ahead.
hold
Go
on. I
ahead.
don't
I'm
want to cut
listening
you
to
off.
you. You're right. You're right. Go
I'm
ahead.
still paying for it. I'm still paying for it because reason me being rebellious, I slept with a chick that wasn't even for me.
Mm-hmm.
So now my daughter is carrying those same rebellious traits because I'm teaching her one way, but her mother is teaching her another way.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and my daughter, she don't fit off the rails. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
To the point where me and one of her uncles had got into it on how I discipline my child.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I got to the point where I just had to throw up my hands and say, you know what? I'm gonna let her mother deal with each other
Nope.
because I don't want to go to jail, bro. I
No.
don't want
You no no
I
no no
don't
no.
want to go to
You're
jail,
not
man.
gonna go to jail. You're gonna hold the fence. You're gonna hold the line. Listen, what makes a man great is doing what he doesn't want to do when he doesn't want to do it. That's what make a man great. You don't have the luxury of being able to get tired. You don't get tired. You don't get tired.
I've been fighting with her mother for 14 years, bro. I've been
Well,
fighting
you
with her
got
mother for
another,
14 years.
you got another 5, 10, 15 to go. Because that's just what we do. We don't get tired. We keep going because it's not about us, it's about her. It's about your daughter. And I know that that's probably one of the most
Yeah,
pressing
but
things to you.
but
Hear
you
me
want
out.
but
Hear me
let me
out.
let me
Hear me
explain
out.
to you.
Hear me out. You don't have the luxury of throwing your hands up. When your daughter gets older, she's going to appreciate you for not giving up because it's not about what the results are right now. It looks that way. It may seem like it's going a certain way, but I'm telling you, you having a presence in her life is going to absolutely impact her in a positive way going forward. You have to stick with it. You got to roll with it. You're going to have to discipline yourself, and you just going to have to make sure that you still work on yourself and that you never put yourself in a position to where you're going to go to jail. But you're going to have to make sure that you continue to fight to be in her life and have an impact in a positive way on what it is that she got going on. Kids pay attention to, and ultimately they lean into the same way that you did, right? Because you may have made some mistakes or you may have rebelled, but you came back to those same principles that your parents taught you as far as what it was that they was doing when they were strict. It's not about what you go through because everybody rebelled, everybody go through things. I went through stuff and I rebelled, but I came back to the thing that my father taught me. And so you got to stick with it, bro. And I know you're going through it, and we can go back and forth about what the situation is or whatever. But you do not have the luxury of being able to give up on a kid that you created. That is your blessing and your burden to bear.
I agree with you, but that's easier said than done, bro. I'll
No, it's
be honest
not.
with you. 'Cause
One day at a time. You're gonna figure it out. Every day.
the thing is, her mother was in cahoots. They lied on me,
So,
made me look like I'm a monster, bro. To the
so
point where her uncle felt like he had to confront me, and I had to set that shit straight. Excuse my language.
then set
You
it
know what I'm
straight,
saying?
and you move on, and you still be in her life.
But I'm not trying to go to jail. I ain't trying to do none of that because I'm not on. I'm 35 years old, man. That's kid stuff, bro. You know what I'm
I
saying?
understand, but what I'm saying is, that's your daughter. And no matter what happens in
But
life, that's still gonna be your daughter. And so you're going to have to figure out how to move around a little bit differently to where you don't react to the things that people do to you, but you still have an impact, and you keep pushing forward with the lessons that you would want your daughter to have, and you just figure it out from there. One day your daughter going to get grown, and you're going to have more opportunity to really be able to impact her life and have even more influence. But the things that you set forth based off of how much you fought for her and how much you live and die for her right now is the thing that it's gonna carry with her for the rest of her life. You got to stick with it, bro. No excuses, no getting tired. You figure out how to go back into the drawing board and wake up refreshed every day and be renewed in your focus on being the best man that you can be, and being the biggest impact and influence in your daughter's life, hopefully. And then you just move around whatever your circumstances are in order to do so. But you don't have the luxury to give up, bro.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. You wouldn't feel the way a 14-year-old child know right from wrong. You've been teaching her for 14 years, and she
Of
just
course I
turned
would
on
feel
you
away.
with a.
That don't mean that I'm stopping. I feel away. Listen, I got people right now every single day that hit me up that watch this show or is part of my community or whatever, and they fall away and they come back and they fall away and I give them some game and they go do what they want to do and then they come back. And you know what I say? Listen, as long as you continue to be here, I'm going to continue to fight for you. But the minute that you give up, there's nothing else I can do for you. I'm gonna be here. As long as you're willing to fight for your own success, I'm gonna be here. Now with kids, it's even more because they didn't ask to be here. And so that's my responsibility and my burden to bear. I understand what you're going through. I'm not diminishing what it is that you go through as far as for that, but that is your cross to bear. And you're gonna have to walk through that. Men don't get the opportunity to make a decision to just give up. We keep going. You keep going and you do what you're supposed to do.
All right, bro. Yeah, okay, but all right. I really didn't call for that, but maybe that's something I need to think about. You know what I'm saying?
Just think about it. I'm not telling you. Listen, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you my opinion because you mentioned it. So just think about it. At the very least, just take it into consideration.
Yeah. But what I really want to say to answer your question earlier, I believe that we should pray for both sides. I pray for my enemies all the time, but I do understand you reap what you sow. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I mean, because remember when Jesus was on the cross, he said, "Lord, forgive them, for they
For
know
they
not
know
what
not
they
what they
done."
do. Correct.
Right. So I don't. You know, they gonna get what they gonna get. You know what I'm saying? You get what you put in, but I just want to just turn my back on my enemies and be like whatever. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? That is my opinion.
I got you.
I pray for my enemies all the time, and I even had people I thought was my friend was really my enemy,
Do
but I
you
still
pray for
pray for
your
them.
Do you pray for your daughter's mother?
Yeah, I pray that God give us some sense.
Okay, that's cool. I'm with it.
You know, that's about it. That's about it. Because I really don't know what's going on with her. We don't really communicate because every time I call her, I'm a F nigga and all that. So you know, it is what it is.
That's cool. I got you. I got your back, man.
You know, yeah. But that's it. I just want to share my opinion. I don't really have much to disagree with you. I,
Thank
I
you,
I
Rick. I
appreciate your show a
appreciate you for
lot.
calling, bro.
You know, and that's it, man. I ain't gonna hold you up no longer, man. But thank you for the advice, bro.
Thank you for calling, bro. I'm gonna go with Josh. Let's see what Josh disagrees with. I got a lot of disagreements on this morning. What's
Hey,
going on,
what's going
Josh?
on? What's going on, Anton? How you doing, bro?
Chilling, my friend. What you disagree with?
Man, I disagree with the EV story that you did. Big
Mm,
fan. I'm not here to be a troll or anything like that.
I'm with it.
My name's Josh Boyd. I own Boyd Motorsports Automotive Group and Boyd Motorsports Exotics. So I buy and sell cars a lot and customize cars and work on cars. Now, am I saying that I don't like EVs? I love them. My disagreement is we don't have the infrastructure for it. And I know that you get a lot of messages, and it's been a couple of articles I might tag you in, or I might send you some. Um, if you check your messages, my IG is Boy Motorsports. I've sent you a couple of I sent you a couple of messages of different articles and stuff that I think that might concern you. Now, do I have a problem with Teslas and problem with EVs? And do I? My disagreement is, one, the infrastructure is not there.
That's not a
I live in
disagreement. I
Texas.
agree with you.
I live in Texas, and about 3 years ago, we had the big freeze
I
where
remember.
the ERCOT happened, and so we went to a big blackout, and there just was a scandal that they uncovered that ERCOT was the people that have automatic dials for the thermostats, that they were changing the dials to adjust them. Like someone might put their thermostat on like 60 during the summer and leave out and put it on auto. So
Mm.
what they were noticing that ERCOT was going and dealing with these different energy companies, and they were taking that thermostat that was on 60 and put it on 75 to adjust for different energy uses. So and I'm in Texas, so we're like what the second, I think we're like the second or third biggest state in America, give or take.
Mm.
I'm not sure. So if we have that problem, other people will definitely have that problem. Also, the lithium mining that is more destructive than oil refineries. And am I a big oil advocate or anything like that? No, I'm not. But I do understand that one, people want the freedom. You yourself, you bought a 1996 Impala
Hmm.
that you very much enjoy. I've bought and customized a few 96 Impalas that I really love them. And people, I don't, from what I understand, I don't think that people don't understand EVs or they don't like them, is that the restriction that comes with them. Now, and I'm not talking restriction as in mileage that you get. I had a Taken. I think I bought about 2 or 3 Takens in the past couple of months that I really enjoyed. I like the car. I like Porsche. I think Porsche is a great company. Do I like what they do with allocations? No, because they do the same price gouging that Mercedes does.
No, they don't.
That but well, yeah, with the GT3 RS and
They
GT2
do it with
RS,
that.
if you wanted that,
They
if,
do
if
it
you
with that.
wanted that allocation, some dealers were asking 150 over sticker.
Correct, but
So
not all dealers. All dealers weren't.
no, not all of them, but majority of them.
Hmm.
So I had customers that are good Porsche collectors that were running into these problems, and that's kind of why
Because
people
I
deal
got
with
an
me.
allocation and they're not overcharging me.
Yeah, so I had sold a 2000. I sold 3 2002 Ferrari Enzos. One was a Grigio
You
Lynx.
got an Enzo?
I sent
You got your hands on some Enzos?
Yeah, I sent you one. It was the Grigio Lynx one. I sent it to you in your
I must not have
you
seen it.
made a post. You
Did I
you
see
made
it?
I don't know if you've seen it, but I sent it to you. You were doing a stream and you were saying, man, drive an Enzo. And so that one I acquired from Sotheby's.
That's one of my
I
grail cars. I gotta get one. I want to get one within
two
the next 3 to 4 years.
and see and basically me, I'm not a big dealership, Antoine. I'm basically, what I do is I help out.
Man, I can't believe you
I
got
do
your
a
hands
lot of
on an Enzo.
I help
That's one
out
of my
collectors
dream
that
cars.
look for cars off market. So basically you might come to me and be like, hey, look, I'm looking for a Ferrari F50. I'm looking for a Porsche GT3 RS, Porsche
Hold
GT2
on?
RS,
What's
the
your
GT3.
Instagram? I got to make sure that I'm following you.
Boyd Motorsports, BOYD, Motorsports, MOTORSPORTS. So I help out a lot of dealerships. That way I keep the relationship and be able to get
You
people
said
allocations,
Boyd
stuff like that.
Motorsports, right? You got the
Yeah, Boyd,
white
B
Enzo
O
on
Y
your
D.
profile.
Yeah, BOYD.
I got you. I just followed you. I got you.
Yeah,
Man,
I've been
if I
following
get
you.
my hands on an Enzo, you ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. Maybe that's why God ain't gave me one yet.
Nah, bro, you gonna get Enzo real soon because
No,
as
maybe
far as
that's
the
why I
collect
didn't get one before because I wasn't ready for it. Because ain't nobody gonna be able to tell
and
me nothing.
and and, and see, as far as the car market, the hypercar market is still very solid. But when I say hypercar market, I mean the collectibles like the Enzos, the
Yeah,
F50s, the EB110s, but the Bugatti Chiron, cars like that, they are falling just like every other car.
yeah,
I
but I
have
mean,
grown.
not Paganis, not
I
Koenigseggs,
mean,
not stuff
like
like
I
that.
said, those are collectibles. Those are
Yeah,
collectibles
yeah.
because because Hiroshio is only going to make what 50 or 100.
Yep. Yep.
I have a good client that's here local. He has two. He has a Zonda. He bought the Zonda back in the early 2000s, and he has a
Man,
hybrid.
that
He
car
has a
probably
hybrid.
worth $4 million, bro.
Yeah, it's worth about that, and we had to do a clear bra on it. So
Man.
I it's and like I tell people, I'm like, the taking those EVs are taking a big hit just like everything else, but
Yeah, but I
it's
mean,
not like
those are dailies though, right?
yeah, but
Those are not collectors cars.
those
Those
aren't
have
collectible
a lot
cars.
more
But like you said,
percent.
those are dailies.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Because
thing
mine is
is,
I drive mine like a daily.
but you should, because it's made for it, and it's a good car. What the problem is, like I said, is not that people don't understand them, is that when you see, these stories of people getting locked out their Teslas,
That
I've
is
sold
very, very
multiple.
rare though.
Yeah, I agree.
Very
They're
rare.
very, very rare. But you know how people are. They're very reactionary. People aren't actionary, they're reactionary.
Correct.
So they'll take the minute and apply that for the
I
many.
don't think that
We
most
see this
people are
in,
as
in every
educated.
argument all the time.
I don't think that people are as educated as you giving them credit for, as far as not just
And,
EVs, but
and
a lot of things. I don't think that people are as educated
I
with
agree.
ADD.
I
because
agree.
because
I think
like
I
I'll
gotta
give you an
give people
example.
more credit.
For one, I'll give you an example. For 99% of the population, what they buy cars for, they don't need it for that. Most
True.
pickup truck drivers don't need a pickup truck.
Very
Most
true. Very
SUV
true.
owners don't need an SUV. 99% of the population are pedestrians in that they travel to and from the grocery store, to work, whatever, and all of that. They are not construction workers as far as needing, you know
True.
what I'm saying, and all of that stuff, right? So when we think
True.
about what people want versus what their needs are, and if people, I guess, more or less, and I'm not saying that everybody should get an EV, but even their regular buying habits, most people buy outside of what their true lifestyle would dictate versus what it is that they decide to buy, right? So when we take that into
True.
consideration, and I agree with you as far as the infrastructure, which we have to continuously invest in infrastructure, whether it's EV infrastructure or not. Um, I think that there's a huge miscommunication as far as what EVs are, what their true purpose is, and I think that the market is not even mature enough for us to justify. Of course, you don't want to get an EV if you are a logger. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's such a small segment of the population, and I think that what I think that people need is one, education, and two, options. That's why I'm in support of EVs, not necessarily because everybody should have an EV, but because everybody should make an educated decision as to what their true needs are versus what they're being sold as far as propaganda as to whether or not they should or shouldn't buy one in the first place. So I agree with you.
True.
I just don't think that people are as
True.
educated as we giving them credit for.
And at this moment the market's correcting itself. Like I
I
had
agree.
like a grown man. I just had a grown man cry in my office, and I can tell you right now, Anton, I'm gonna be honest, during 2021 and 2022 I didn't sell that many cars because of so much price gouging. I had guys wanting G-Wagons because 19 and 20 I was selling G-Wagons like hot butter.
Mm-hmm.
And but then when they became 100 over sticker, 150 over sticker, I told
I
people, I'm like, dude, you're gonna come back to me in 6 months and you're not gonna be happy. So that's why I'm a bit impartial about EVs, because I had guys buy Lucids. Then when they wanted to sell them, they're losing 20 and 30 grand. I had a grown man come in my office. He bought two G-Wagons, one 120 over sticker, another 135 over sticker. And he asked me, how much over sticker can I pay him? I said, dude, I just sold a brand new 24 G-Wagon for 15 over sticker. I just sold a year's Performante for like 15 back a window. I was like, the market is correcting themselves because dealers got greedy, and the manufacturers, they noticed the greed and started upping up the MSRP. But before, you can go on a roll store and pay 60, 70 over for a Cullinan. Now Cullinans are, you can get a Cullinan if you go to the right store. You can get it for 20, 30 back MSRP.
I don't think
You
that,
might have
but
to
I
pay
don't.
some.
I don't think that. I think that the market is softening across the board, though. So
Yeah,
I
no,
don't. I
that's what I'm
don't think
saying.
that.
It's
But I
correcting
don't think
itself.
that it's. I don't think that it's only to cars. I think that it's luxury items,
It's everything.
watches. Bro, when I was able to go in there, is nowhere in the world 2 years ago or a year ago I should have been able to go in there and get this new watch that I just got yesterday.
No, they're hurting for it because Rolex tried to adapt to the gray market,
Yeah.
and they took in the gray market, which they've always had an underhand in the gray market because I sell watches too, but
Yep.
I deal with
Oh, you
I
a
do a lot of
hustler.
wholesaling, huh?
You a hustler.
Man, bro, I just I'm real big in I'm just creating. And I just love seeing people happy, bro. I love when I do that when I have someone that wants something and I can go and find it. For instance, when I sold a Ferrari F50 about 5 months ago, it took me 3 months to find the car. When I
Mm.
said it took me 3 months, I spent the whole month in Tokyo going to go look for a car for a customer because he wanted a Ferrari F50, 200 miles. He wanted the
200 miles?
records, huh?
200 miles?
Yeah, 200 miles on it. I
Jesus
found
Christ.
one with 150. He wanted the original racing suit. He wanted the original documents. He wanted the racing gloves, the certificate of authenticity that comes with it.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna stay
luggage.
in touch with you because I got some cars on my bucket list that I'm gonna be chasing over the next 3 to 4 years. Some of them a little bit more exclusive, others just based off of the fact that I just have nostalgia for it. And they range just everywhere from the Ford GTEs, both the new ones and the old ones. Um, I'm gonna be chasing those. Obviously, Enzo is at the very top of my list. I'm also gonna buy a DeLorean just because I like DeLoreans. Right, I've never had a DeLorean,
Man,
so I'm chasing
I'm in
those.
Houston, so the DeLorean Motor Company is down the street
It
from my
is. It
house.
is. It is.
It's down the street.
Yep.
And
Yep.
see, I what when we first started, because it's me, my brother, and my dad, and we were the shit kicker bucket shop that, people didn't, when we were starting to earn people trust, they would bring us DeLoreans, they'll bring us Murcielagos, they'll
Yep.
bring us Diablos,
Yep.
because these were the downtrodden cars 10 years ago.
Yeah, they were.
Now Murcielagos are $500,000 if you got
Yeah.
a manual transmission. But
Yep.
we were working on these cars and customizing them and putting wheels on them, and that's what kind of gave us our bones. And once we started proving ourselves and people started seeing more of our cars going back to the dealers, and we're making relationship with the dealers. My best friend used to own Lamborghini in Houston before he sold it to the conglomerate that owns it now, and
Mm.
he lived next door to my stepmom. So we would make relationships with these guys and basically help get allocations and stuff like that. And the more we delivered, the more people started to trust us. And
Yeah, I'm
like I
I'm a
said, we're
rock with
not
you, bro.
big.
I'm a rock with you,
Yeah.
bro. I just followed you on Instagram. Um, yeah, I got you, man. We gonna connect. We gonna link up. And what part of Texas are you in?
I'm in Houston, bro.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna connect with you, bro, because I'm always in Texas. So, all
And
right,
the
that's a
last time
bet.
you're in Houston, I seen you walking down the street. You were walking down the street
Oh, you
downtown, bro,
seen
and
me in Houston?
I tried to pull up on you, and I was like, "Fuck, the light wouldn't let me," and I was turning. I was like, "Damn!" And I seen the stream, and you were like, "Yeah, man, I'm walking around in Houston." I'm like, "Damn, I just missed it, bro."
No, I link up with you. I definitely link up with you. I just followed you. Hey, y'all, make sure y'all follow Boyd Boyd Motorsports. Boyd Boyd Motorsports. Dope. And then maybe I'll just be trying to source most of my cars for me because I got a lot of cars that I want to get. I want to get some old Porsches.
and I'm
I want to
always
get some
buying
old
cars.
Benzes. I'm
Yeah,
chasing a bunch of stuff right now. Actually, it's funny because I just bought some commercial land, and I plan on building a
yeah.
garage, a storage for my cars as I continue to acquire them because I'm starting to get too many cars and you know what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna have to need somewhere to keep them because I can't just keep them all at the places that I got right now. So
Yeah, and I'm always buying cars. So if you want to get rid of something, man, DM me.
I ain't
Let me
getting
know
rid of
what you
nothing.
need for it. I ain't mad at you. Don't. I would say hold on. I tell people, bro, hold on to what you got right now.
Yeah.
Especially in this market. Like, just hold on to it, enjoy it. And you're correct. The market is correcting itself all across the board.
But I mean
And I was telling
that's
people
normal though.
that,
I think that that's
yeah,
normal, but that
yeah,
it's always going to be corrections and that it's going to be highs and lows. That's the same thing in real estate. It's the same thing in watches and all of that. I think that over time with inflation, everything ultimately goes up. But I think
and
that
it
the
goes
market is
down.
always going to be a correction. It's always going to be people that have money, then they ain't going to have money. You know what I'm saying? So that's normal. I think that that's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you,
No,
bro.
I totally agree with you. I
Well,
totally agree
let
with
me
you.
let me get off of here. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna hit you up on. I did just follow you on Instagram, and I'm gonna hit you up because there's a couple different
All
cars.
right, man. Keep making that good content, bro. I'm a big fan. Like I said, I wasn't trying to troll, bro. We both agreed on it.
I don't
So
think you're trying to talk.
the EV thing. I think once we build more infrastructure, and you are totally correct. People do need to be more informed. That's the reason why they're piling up at different stores. You're totally
Mhm.
right. People need to be more informed, and once people make more informed decisions and make better decisions, versus instead of just spending just to spend, then I think that it'll be able to be better integrated into society and not ostracized as it is, and as it looks like the big bad guy or the unknown thing or the thing that you shouldn't stay away from or something like that.
Yep. That's true. All right, my friend. Thank you, bro. Thanks, Josh.
All right, Merry Christmas, man.
Merry
Man,
Christmas, my friend.
thanks for the great content, bro. Keep putting it out.
Thank you, bro. All right.
All right, blessings.
All right, friends. I'm glad that y'all was able to call in and for us to be able to kick in and have a conversation on this Christmas morning. Tomorrow we get back to our regularly scheduled program. We did do a whole show today, but regularly scheduled program tonight. Make sure y'all tap into the Q&A show, or I'm sorry, Hey Q. Sometimes I say that, but it's really just Q show, and I'm just a guest on there. All right, so make sure y'all get on the Anton Daniels channel if you haven't already. Make sure you tap into After Hours with Anton Daniels. I'm gonna read a couple of the super chats and go from there. AL says, "You my guy Anton, but for real, interview Lori." And Lori don't do interviews. I try though. Shout out to T Leave says, to Anton's point, for example, death is going to happen. The prayer should not be that death doesn't occur, but pray that those who die find peace. Just my interpretation. No, you 100% right. People will pray, hey, don't let me die. What do you mean? Everybody gonna die. Gray Way says prayer is a way for us to align with God's will, not to change it. And sometimes the answer is no. They don't like that part. When God say no, then they be feeling stupid. Then they feel like God's forsaken them. No, the answer was no. If you see a criminal, fire that fire that. Shout out to my dog J Ben. Young Hove is in the building with the 10 ball. Says, amen, bro. Blessings to you, fam. I had to dig into my investment account for that one, bro. We have to undo what America has done to most people's minds. I truly believe that this platform is God's will. Thank you, my friend, Young Hove. I appreciate you. And then my dog Jamal says, Merry Christmas to you, the family, and the Chasers. Shout out to my dog Jamal Williams. I appreciate you. All right, listen, family. It's been a great stream. Thank you for you guys for being able to tune in. Make sure that you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I got one more super chat I need to read. And Wigs2K says the United States of Mexico. All right, y'all. I'm going to see y'all tonight and then tomorrow morning. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. But I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.